Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth. You have to go back to the roots. Go to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try to run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream. The shadows of that time are cast beneath the streetlight beam. As the world moves on, time sings a song. Don't cry, don't cry, as the days move on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Afridamus Report. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's been a minute. I want to say hello and happy Friday to all of you. So where are we? Ladies and gentlemen, last time I was talking about bringing the updates about France, being in Niger. I'm sure you guys are aware of that, where France doesn't want to, let go of these countries. We've had people come up here. You've heard some of them. Generally, they tend to be, white or European. They would, these people, it tells you exactly the sentiment that they hold of Africans. And do you blame them? You cannot blame them. And in this situation, I'm going to break it all down to you. So since the last time we had the discussion, there's been lots and lots of development that took place. So you guys remember there was like a standoff where the military junta in Niger, they told France to leave their country. This is very interesting, what is taking place over there. So they were going back and forth as those talks were taking place. You guys remember, those of you that were following ECOWAS, led by Bola Tinubu, Nigeria, came out, their president, he was flexing. So we all knew right away, he was speaking in the voice of the French. So today, this discussion here, let's not confuse the population with the government, because what these people have done was, so during quote unquote, Africans gaining independence in the 60s, ladies and gentlemen, remember this, Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, all these, founding fathers of Africa. What did these people preach? Their message was pro-African. The message was pro-African, not only pro. So when they say pro-African, meaning Africans all over the world, if you notice, there was unity. But France and the United States, of course, EU, you must realize these people are completely united against Africans. I'm going to break it all down and open it up. I understand sometimes we have discussions that are heated. People want to talk about whose country is better, whose country isn't. You would find out here, none of the African countries are better than the other. Because I'm going to point out the shift where they came from. Remember Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana? He was Pan-African. And this guy, he wasn't just, armchair Pan-African. Sure, you can disagree with some of his moves, but he is true to the message he was preaching. So you had other people like him in Africa. They came together, they were united. But France could not let that happen. They cannot let that happen because France was and still is dependent on these countries. Today, that's what we are going to talk about. And we're going to talk about this quote-unquote foreign aid. You know how they like to try to hold the foreign aid. They said they're giving aid to Africa. I'm going to speak on that too. We're going to break it down. I have videos to back it up and analyze it. You will see clearly. These people aren't giving any aid to Africa. You must know this. They're not giving aid to Africa. People, think about this. If I'm giving you 3 cents and I'm taking out $5,000 out of your place and I'm giving you 3 cents and I'm saying, I'm helping you, is that aid? It's not aid. So that's why I say, let's not confuse the people and the government. Because you see, the Nigerian government, for example, their president, to be precise, his message, the message he's trying to push, the Nigerians, majority are not with that message, which is the message of invasion. Because a lot of the presidents that are quote unquote in ECOWAS, they call it. ECOWAS is supposed to be, empowering those nations, African nations, economically, ladies and gentlemen. This is the truth. That's what it's supposed to do. But if the leaders, quote unquote, because when they moved from the Kwame Nkrumahs, they eliminated those people. The second wave of Africans came in. The coups came in. But this was all the hands France was meddling in all this. They do not want African countries to be stabilized. They don't want these countries to have peace. This is why today I am going to justify to you that France do not only need to be kicked out of these countries. France needs to pay reparations back to these nations. That's right. You heard me. Reparation for their atrocities. Once I break it all down for you, you will totally understand why. I know you're surprised. Oh, Afridamus is using the R word, reparations. Yes. They've been stealing from these nations for far too long. So that brings us to Niger. So the coup in Niger, the picture you see here, that is Mohamed Bazoum. Because After all those coups in the 90s, Nigeria was the coup capital of the world, of West Africa. That's right. A lot of the development you see in Nigeria, even their new capital, Abuja, was built under a quote-unquote military dictatorship. So the beauty, I know some people are gonna come, oh, Afridamus, I can't believe you are promoting military dictatorship in Nigeria. It was brutal. Don't get me wrong. It was brutal. But also, what I've noticed in the past, these military people, the military people are generally defiant against the Western nations. But to be honest, I don't think they were the best options either. But either way, they came about and the coup fever spread all through West Africa. Even my own country in Gambia, we had the Ajame come in 1994. Do you guys know prior to 1994 in Gambia, Gambia didn't even have a national television, no university. The roads were not better. Few places had electricity. Most places were like forests. So of course, that proves that either the president that was there, they said, yeah, he brought peace whatsoever, but he was knighted by the British monarch, meaning he dances to their tune. But now they had the military guy, which it was Yahya Jammeh. He was 28, 29 years old at the time. He was speaking this anti-imperialist talk. He was talking against neocolonialism, and he called out all the sellouts. He called out the corrupt people, and the nation rejoiced. They were like, oh man, things are going well. But the old guard, meaning the bootlickers who were enjoying, they fled the country to go join their white masters. But despite the sabotage, yeah, he was in the perfect guy, but he brought the nation into civilization. He brought television, he brought new roads, he built entire new settlements that you are seeing today. But the white people were saying he's a dictator. I noticed that the Europeans in general feel that they can decide for Africans what is best. And that's what Macron is doing. And I want you Africans watching me to wake up. You're so quick to run to Europeans, telling them about the issues in your country. You are opening a floodgate, giving them the pretext to invade your nation. And the same people would turn around and tell you how Africa is so poor. If it wasn't for them helping Africans, Africans wouldn't even eat. They would say things like this. They run this propaganda on their news channels. So you would see why I'm mentioning this. Macron and others, they have no problem giving fake news about Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Because you see, the African, us, the Africans, what we think don't matter to them. All they need to do is to convince their population. And once their population say it's a go, then they can attack. So why don't Africans, those of you that are watching me, start understanding that your faith, my faith, that continent's faith, is in the hands of people who are completely ignorant of the place. You are not even given the respect of being a human being. It's a fact. That's why Macron is trying to run the same propaganda. They told Macron that his embassy their ambassador, is no longer welcome in Niger. He is openly defiant, saying no, he's not going to leave Niger. They told them their military have to leave. He said no, he does not recognize the junta as the rulers of that country. So why would Macron say this? And then ECOWAS, led by Bola Tinubu, jump in saying they are going to help France invade that country. Why? When the coup happened in Gabon, the fake coup, I would do a topic on that too. France didn't mind because those people, the military there, they sent a message in their behavior to show that, look, man, we are not anti-French over here. We just want to pretend and, take advantage of the climate and change hands in the power game here. But it's the same family. But Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, they are hardcore. Guinea, Mamadou Doumbia, I changed my mind a bit because he has a French wife, a white wife, and she was a former French cop. Go figure, ladies and gentlemen. His stance on France is a bit soft also. So, but either way, he is showing his support. He's showing his support for Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. So, if you look at it, ECOWAS no longer matters to those countries. I hope you guys realize this. Because Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, these people just signed a defense pact to defend each other if they are invaded. Because what Macron is doing is bait and switch. He refused to remove his ambassador there. The people protested. They kept protesting. They said, get out of our country. Macron said, no, they're not going to leave the country because he does not recognize the military as the rulers of that country. Why does Macron feel the need? Why is he refusing to leave Niger? I will tell you. Because they are getting free resources, uranium, gold, and I would show you all of that. But then Macron changes his tone. He goes to CNN News. He tells CNN that, in fact, they are being held as hostages in Niger. Can you guys believe this? See, when a person doesn't respect you, that's when they make up stories like this. Because France is like, hey, I'm just going to make up a story so that they can go in and attack. But things have changed. Things have completely changed. If this was like 5-6 years ago, within hours, the French would have entered Niger and, attack those people over there. But this time, these people woke up and the world changed. A lot of things have been uncovered. Africans they've now known the secret. People can no longer unknow it. People are beginning to understand that these Europeans are pulling a 419 on Africans. Talking about, we're giving you 50 billion for 5 years. But every year you are getting 250 billion from the resources they are stealing. So it is time for us to call this out. Guys, please make sure you get the likes up. Get the likes up. Niger was it hit the French sideways. They didn't expect what was coming to them. So let me do my disclaimer here. I have some videos to show you how Macron have changed his tone. Macron is lying now. He is out here lying, talking about, oh, this pretty much, the message is, oh, look at these black savages, these jungle black bunnies. They are holding our people hostage. So now you have clueless Westerners. Now your fate is in the hands of clueless Westerners. This is why Africans, you better wake up and be ready to stand 10 toes down and fight hard. Fight hard, because our fate is in the hands of people who think they are superior. Why don't we show them? We have to be willing to go to war, just like Niger is doing. There are tons of Africans in France, in Europe, in many places, young Africans. The game have completely changed. These are young men. I'm talking military age men. Imagine any move France makes, invades Niger, their country shouldn't be safe. No Europeans should be safe, because now they are doing it as a pact. Africans, we have to come together and make them, just like they make us feel unsafe, let's make them feel unsafe. Because now we are seeing clearly France is provoking a war. They believe they can fly in and bomb. There's, like I said, there's tons of Africans, not only in France, but in European countries. If France and EU goes in and do this, hey, you know what to do. You know exactly what to do. They make Africans feel unsafe in Africa. Why would you let them be safe in Europe? It's time for Africans to start thinking different. Because these people truly believe, just from words, they can lie on African nations, come in and invade and go to sleep. You see what the Arabs did? They used to go and bomb the Arabs, do whatever. But what did the Arabs that live in Europe, what did they start doing to them? Exactly. Let me do my fair use here, and then I'll go into the videos. Sorry, give me a minute. All right. So let me show you, right? So the French, clearly, the people, let me show you, the people were protesting. They said they want them out. They want them out completely. But the French are refusing. Here we go.
Locals have flooded the streets near a French military base demanding foreign troops leave the country. That's as the country's top court stripped the French ambassador of diplomatic immunity and ordered his immediate expulsion from the country. Paris has refused to recognise the new military government that seized power in last month's coup. French leader Macron has reiterated support for the ousted leader and endorsed ECOWAS sanctions and the bloc's possible intervention.
So did you see this? How can Burkina Faso, Mali, and all these other countries trust, quote unquote, ECOWAS? So France, mind you, this is not an African country. This is a colonial, quote unquote, these are colonialists. Colonialists, sucking the people's resources dry. So France is the one, I think France is even the one that picked the president of Nigeria for them. They manipulate, they put puppets in place. So France says they only recognize Mohamed Bazoum. So now we have the evidence to show that that Motisa, that light-skinned president, in fact, he's a treasonous human being. he should be, the charge fits in. He is being charged with high treason. Because whose interest is he serving? Whose interest? Because as far as Niger is concerned, and Africans that are smart is concerned, France is a criminal country at this point. France and EU are criminals. So anyone that's in cahoots with them, you are an accomplice as well. So the man is a criminal. Let's continue.
Intervention. A local journalist sent us this report from the ground.
The Patriotic Front for the Fatherland, a civil society organization that makes France dizzy, had given until Saturday for the French soldiers to clear out. The deadline has officially expired, which opens the way to new speculation. What weapons, what means of pressure does the Patriotic Front for the Fatherland?
Did you guys hear that? So the protest that you were seeing was they want the French out. There is tons of videos like this. I will show you a couple of them just to make a point, to let you know the Negroes in Niger want the French out. They are protesting. They want them out. But you will be surprised at what the French president says. Let me show you more protests.
His military government rescinded Sylvain Itté's diplomatic immunity on Thursday and threatened to deport him if he didn't leave the country.
Did you guys hear this? They stripped him of his diplomatic immunity and they want to deport him. If he's not going to leave voluntarily, they want to grab him and put him on a plane and kick him out. Guys, can you imagine an African country, getting kicked out of white people's country and refusing to leave? Their newspapers would probably be writing so much racist stuff. They'll probably call you all kinds of monkeys and chimps. But you see how they are quiet about this? Because they are arrogant. They think they own Africa. You better wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah. You think the colonialism have ended? No. Now they are doing it mentally. They don't see Africans as human beings. Let's see what Macron here says. Let's see.
But the French President Emmanuel Macron continued to hold firm in his refusal to engage with the junta.
I speak to President Bazoum every day. We support him.
Did you guys hear this? Out of Macron's own mouth, he speaks to Bazoum. Guys, Bazoum is not only a sellout, he is treasonous at this point. So, mind you, you guys saw the people of Niger, majority, the population, they are out there. They want the French out. So, one individual is against the population. Is Bazoum, is his voice stronger than the rest of the country? But look at who Bazoum is talking to. The colonialists that they want to kick out. So isn't he conniving with, isn't he going against the country? Shouldn't this man be charged for treason? How are you the leader of the gang, but little did we know, you are a fake leader. In fact, you are working for the rival gang. Isn't that ground to take him out? Exactly. So he is a French puppet. So if he's talking to the enemy, shouldn't they bring the guillotine? They should practice the French culture like they did to Louis XVI. They used the guillotine because they saw him as a traitor. They saw him as a fat cow sitting on top of France. So they brought him to the guillotine. So if this man is talking to the enemy, he should be brought to the guillotine, if you know what I mean.
him and we don't recognize the coup leaders. We aren't listening to their demands because they have no legitimacy to make them.
The show of support for
So you guys heard this, right? Sorry for stopping it, but you guys heard this. They told them to leave. He is flat out saying, no, we are not going to listen to these people. We are not going to leave. So the lines have been drawn. The people want you out of their country. He said he doesn't recognize them as the legitimate rulers of that country, even though the people are behind the junta. He's saying, yeah, F these people. We are friends. We don't recognize these people, so therefore we ain't leaving. So I want you guys to remember, this is what he is saying. But let's see if he would continue to say this.
Mohamed Bazoum sparked the ire of Niger's military leaders, who immediately responded to the French president.
These comments are a further and flagrant interference in Niger's domestic affairs.
Most of the international community continues to recognize Bazoum as Niger's lawful leader, with West African bloc ECOWAS still considering military intervention to reinstate the president.
Do you guys hear this? So, should ECOWAS, from the moment that France refused to leave the country, refused the demands of the people of that nation, if there was any African unity, let's just call a spade a spade. If ECOWAS was in the arm of France and EU, their Western masters, why would ECOWAS want to join France to invade Niger? Why? That's because ECOWAS works for France. You get it? That's because ECOWAS is France and EU. These people came, they infiltrated African organizations and made it theirs. That's what you are seeing. That's why you saw Nigeria's president, Tinubu, he came out talking about they are going to invade. But his Senate rejected what he was saying because he's not speaking for the population of Nigeria. So many Nigerians oppose that. They are like, no, come on, Tinubu, you are not talking for us. I mean, of course, I'm not saying it's every Nigerian that oppose it, but there are more Nigerians against the invasion than, the ones that are supporting it. In fact, I haven't seen that. So the moment France opened, like Macron opened his mouth and refused, saying we are not going to leave, we only recognize the treasonous man, right then and there, ECOWAS should have been like, hey, check this out, France. You are meddling in a sovereign nation's business. That is, if Niger is recognized as a sovereign nation, unless they want to come out and tell us the truth, like, yo, check this out. Niger is in fact not independent. France owns it. What are they hiding? That's what it's looking like to me. France is treating this place like their personal property. They're like, nah, man, F you guys. We ain't leaving. What you gonna do about it? So here we go. So clearly, he is using the white Western lying. They are going to talk tough, and then they're going to backpedal and then pretend to be the victims. You will see that here pretty soon.
But the military government can count on the support of large swathes of the population. On Friday, thousands of protesters gathered outside an army base in Niamey to demand the departure of French troops, with more rallies planned across the weekend.
Did you guys hear that? So I just want to show you guys the evidence to show you that France doesn't want to leave Niger. They've tried using ECOWAS You know, they wanted to use ECOWAS like they did in Ivory Coast to put, to invade, to remove Laurent Gbagbo. They used the rebels and then they flew in, arrested Gbagbo, right? They want to use the same tactic, but it didn't work. The landscape have completely changed because Russia, I know some of you are going to be like, oh, Africa is going to leave one master to another. No. Russia is not seen as a master. See, as long as the African leaders, for example, the president of Mali, the president of Burkina Faso, there's no doubt they are pro-African. You need to trade with people. You need to make alliances with people as long as you are speaking for your people. You're speaking, about things that's going to benefit your people. That's what you're negotiating. But do you know France being in charge of these countries, France is the one deciding for them. France is the one deciding who they can do business with. So Macron is not pro-African. He is pro-French. I hope you know this. But let me show you. Despite the people telling Macron to leave, even though they said these countries are so poor and dusty, without us, they wouldn't survive. But now it's looking like without this country, you wouldn't survive. Because Russia and China, they are just another option. The African countries did not have options. You need people to trade with. So now France is facing challenges, and here we go. Maybe their ego, Macron's ego, is not letting him accept what is happening. So let me play this.
This country is not Niamey's enemy, but that Paris's envoy will not be heeding an order to leave given by coup leaders in Niger.
The deadline has been and gone, but the French ambassador in Niger is staying put, President Emmanuel Macron has said. This after on Friday, the junta gave diplomat Sylvain Ité 48 hours to leave the country.
I think that our policy is correct. It's based on the courage of President Bazoum, on the commitment of our diplomats and our ambassador, who will stay despite pressure.
Did you guys hear this? He said their ambassador would stay despite pressure. So this is an act of war. Are you guys seeing? This is how all these invasions in other countries, this is how it happened. They frame it like, they refuse to listen to what these people are telling them. Leave our country. They refuse. You guys remember a few years back? They said there was some American ambassador. They were in Libya that got killed. But they tried to say, oh yeah, there was just some disgruntled people. But they were warned to not be in that country. They are like, nah, they just ignored it. They want to, spread their supremacy over those people. And, you can't punk everyone. Sometimes people get tired of you and they want you out. It's just a fact. Here we go.
And despite illegal claims of authority, as well as on the efforts of our internal security forces and our army.
The European Union has also expressed its full support for Ité.
Did you guys hear this? So it's not only France going by itself, the European Union. So that's why shout out to Burkina Faso and Mali, coming together and forming that pact to defend each other. Since ECOWAS, a bunch of bootlickers, since Africans in that region are so unpatriotic, they don't want to support each other. That's what I'm seeing. But look at the white people. They are not condemning what France is doing because they are in it together. Yeah, they are against you, the African. I know most of you don't want to accept the reality, but that's the truth. That they see us like, hey, What the hell? These people don't deserve these things. These people deserve to eat dust. That's right. These people, all they deserve is, inhaling dust. The EU is part of this. So France is not going by itself. So, even Germany, all these other countries, they pretend to be cute, to be in the corner. They are against Africans. I hope you know that. Their policy is to take, and keep Africa poor. That's the truth. Let's continue.
The ambassador has not met Niger's new self-appointed government, in line with France's refusal to recognise the legitimacy of the unelected coup leaders. Macron warned that Niger's political crisis would have dire consequences for both the fight against terror in the region and the economy, cut off from international support in the wake of the power grab.
We must not give in to the narrative used by the coup leaders that consists of saying France has become the enemy. The problem of Nigerians today is the coup leaders.
Guys, no. He said the problem in Niger is the coup leaders. But Macron, you are French. You are not from that country. The people have united. They said, you guys are the problem. They want you out. Do you guys see what is happening here? See, sometimes you got to agree with the blacks on some of the things they're telling you. When they say, oh man, these folks, they come around and they try to impose their will on you. They make it seem like you are the problem. How are you going to go to an all-black country? You offered, we're giving you aid. They said, nah, we don't want your goddamn aid. Take it with you. So what France is fighting against, let me tell you, because the junta, they said no more free uranium. Do you guys know that France was basically getting free uranium? Now they put a price on it. That's right. The junta put a price. They said, look, we are open for business. If you got money, we selling to you. But France is pissed off. They're like, nah, man, how you gonna sell your own uranium? Nah, France, what are you hiding? That's because France deep down believe the uranium belongs to them. So they don't have an out. They are like, no, we don't recognize the junta. He is pretending that the junta, they don't matter. But these people are the ones in charge of that country, whether he likes it or not. So at this point, he is desperate. And this desperation, it just keeps increasing. So you see, he said, we are not going to leave. They are getting kicked out. He's saying we're not going to leave, but let's go.
They put them in danger because they're abandoning the fight against terrorism and good economic policy as they're losing the international funding that was helping them develop. That is the reality, and if we don't come out and say it, who will?
So, Macron, you heard him. He said, no, we don't, first he said he don't recognize them. His ambassador is not going to listen. Then he uses the aid route, dangling the aid. You guys remember when, America, now Joe Biden and his administration, few months back when they did their rounds going around black countries, it's not only in Africa, even they went after Jamaica. I'll do news on that, talking about you gotta fly, you all gotta support the rainbow, not only the rainbow coalition. You guys, in fact, need to practice, the religion of rainbowism. You guys need to, become booty bandits. You guys remember that? Museveni was like, hell no. We ain't about to be no booty bandit, and we're not about to encourage no booty banditry in our countries. They're like, all right, we're going to stop the aid. Well, I'm going to expose the aid game. It's a 419. It's a Western 419. All this aid they're talking about, trying to treat us like we blacks. because they give welfare to some blacks in America. How many of you have ever received welfare? I mean, every now and again, they claim, oh, we're giving food to, some refugees, but not all Africans are refugees. So those of us living in free countries, we never received this white man's quote unquote, aid, welfare. Because it's not, it's a scam. It's a big time scam. So France is completely caught off guard here. So they're like, keep your aid. So let's see. Let me show you the news. After all that, let's see what he did.
Have to force the French to leave. And the biggest question, how determined is President Macron to challenge Niamey? More days pass and the anti-French movement wins more hearts of Nigerians. Today the problem of the balance of power has arisen, and obviously the wind is favorable for Nigerians who definitely hate Macron and his African policy. The risk is high that this crowd will break through the walls to gain access to the military base. Already on Saturday the crowd had torn down barriers in front of the French military base. According to the protesters, the plan is to liberate their country.
Yesterday the resistance continued. Today, as you can see, it continues. And it will continue tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. It will continue forever until those morons leave because they're at the Niger military base. Their media lie and say it's a French base, but it's not. It's a base of Niger. They are here illegally.
The people of Niger have come out regardless of any differences they may have for only one thing, to show that their nation is effectively sovereign. And we are here at the cost of our lives because this constant and permanent gathering will continue until the French occupation forces leave Niger.
I just want the French to leave our territory. We don't need them. The country is ours. We don't need the French.
In addition to the case of the French military base, there is the case of the French ambassador with no accreditation, now in total illegality in Niamey. Moussa Mao.
Did you guys hear that? So, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. So, Macron is saying, he's giving the middle finger to all those people. He's like, look, Bazoom, the only way we would leave is if Bazoom said so. That is the guy they removed, the puppet. So that guy, his voice no longer matters. His voice no longer matters. So now, let me show you the videos that is going to expose. That is going to expose France, because what Macron is trying to do, right? So he noticed this is all failed. The whole thing failed. He pivots to something else because these people are probably sitting there in their fancy seats in Europe talking about, look, man, we shouldn't give a damn about what these Negroes are talking about. Dusty ass Negroes talking about, this is their country. Let's see how that's gonna go. We just gonna provoke something. We're gonna bomb them. That's what we're gonna do. So they realize, all right, people are watching. There's too many people watching. What can we do? Let's use our old-time tactics. How about, because they want our military out? Oh, how dare they want our military out? Oh, yeah, I want, like, if I want you out of my place, you are stealing. Why would I want you to have a standing army in my country? The reason why, sir, you are still able to talk to me the way you're talking is because you have a standing army in my backyard, sir. But if I so now you are threatening me indirectly. You are able to threaten me because you have that army. So now I'm telling you, okay, your army got to go. You're like, no, man, please. I'm here for your best interest. I don't want you to kick me and my army out. We're here for you. We want to help you. They're like, nah, man, come on, player. the jig is up, just leave, man. It's like, nah. In fact, I don't want to even listen to you people anymore. You see, the guy that you guys no longer likes, the whole country hates, the guy we put in, and now you guys found out, yeah, that's the only guy we are going to listen to. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who cares about what the millions of people care about? If we are the French, come on, we don't care. You guys are just dusty Africans. Your voice don't matter. This is what these people are saying. So that's why when some of you Africans become sellouts, you are only hurting Africa. Look at what is happening to all these sellouts. They thought this is just gonna continue. They only care about themselves and their families. They collecting money from the Europeans, investing the money they are stealing in European nations. We are all aware of this. So clearly, these people are not working for the quote-unquote countries they are supposed to be, supporting. Why would the invaders support you? Why do the invaders see? First of all, that president Bazoom, the fake president, I don't know why they are allowing him to talk to Macron, but I think maybe they are collecting data too. Maybe, unless that's the reason. If not, this is the same guy that was complaining about only eating dry noodles, and now all of a sudden he complains about eating dry noodles when the whole time he was making the whole country eat dry noodles. So to me, I don't think the noodles are dry enough, because if those noodles were dry enough, do you think he would be having the time to be, bootlicking for Macron? I highly doubt it. So let's see here. Macron continues to be defiant against the people of Niger. I have another short clip. Here we go.
Has reportedly confirmed that he and his staff are safe. They are believed to have remained in the country despite the demands from its new government for them to leave. Earlier, French President Macron said the ambassador and his staff had been taken hostage. Niger's military leaders gave the ambassador 48 hours to leave the country. When those demands were not met, the police were instructed to forcibly expel the ambassador.
So just yesterday, the French President Macron was saying his ambassador in Niger.
So you saw that, right? He refused. Let me show you another clip before we get to Macron himself.
Flooded the streets near a French military base demanding foreign troops leave the country. That's as the country's top court stripped the French ambassador of diplomatic immunity.
So you see, the junta, they are following all the rules. They went to court, and the Nigerian judge is like, hey, he signed up for this French ambassador to get, deported. So if you look at it, these people are deporting Africans from their countries. Why are they refusing to get deported? So here we go.
And ordered his immediate expulsion from the country. Paris has refused to recognise the new military government that seized power in last month's coup. French leader Macron has reiterated support for the ousted leader and endorsed ECOWAS sanctions and the bloc's possible intervention. A local journalist sent us this report from the ground.
All right, we saw that, right? So clearly you guys can see Macron refused, right? Then this is what Macron ended up after all this. Macron, you won't believe it. Macron cried foul. He said he's trying to set Niger up. He said they are holding them hostage. Here, let me show you.
Have a guest at your house. You ask them.
You see that? French ambassador is being held hostage at French embassy in Niger, says Macron. Guys, flat out lying. Do you guys see? That's why when Trump said CNN is fake news, some of you started bending out of shape. This is what you have so many of these Africans. You come from work, you sit on your couch, you watch CNN, MSNBC. These people are lying to you. I hope you know this. If you're watching this, or you know someone that watches these channels all the time, share my video with this individual. So here is CNN and Macron clearly lying because they want to convince the population that this is what is happening, so that the population can back them for them to invade Niger. Misinformation. Let's continue.
To leave, they refuse. You ask them to leave nicely 3 times, they refuse. And then one day they turn around and say that they're being held hostage in your house. Is this madness? Because I don't understand. I think this guy is up to something. He's trying to instigate something, but how?
Sister, that's right. It's called bait and switch. Of course he's up to something. What he's up to is to set Niger up because he thinks they are going to win in this war. I think France should, take heed and understand the signs. Because you guys remember in the beginning of the year, I said this would be the year of the African. And people thought, oh, Afridamus, you're just talking. I'm talking about, people waking up mentally. Because believe it or not, this information that, people are privy to today, I mean, that's a big word for some of you, meaning this information that we're sharing, we're knowing now. These people they've kept this a secret for years. This is how they operate. So they want to set the junta up and say they are holding their ambassador hostage. Now you see why Macron told the ambassador not to leave the country, because that's their last card. If ECOWAS doesn't go in, nothing else happens. So the plan was, we're just gonna accuse them and say, in fact, they are holding the ambassador hostage. And that's what he's trying to do here.
My friend, you have failed again.
The French are not leaving. The ambassador was asked to leave. He never left. Well, now he's being held hostage. But that's according to France.
No, sir. Okay, see, that's according to France. They told him to leave. He refused to leave. Now they are the victims. Oh, look, us poor French, they're holding us hostage. Sir, you had the people of Niger come out. They said they don't need you in their country. Leave their country. They are out there even protesting. They are jumping the fence. They are throwing bottles at you. Like, what else? What else do you need? Like, these people do not love you. I don't know how else to put it to France. They do not love you. They don't want you in their country. Guys, can you believe this? You are clearly seeing what is happening. They say, oh, Africa is a jungle. Africa is disease. Africa is poor. Now you're seeing it played out. It's playing out right in front of all of us. You so rich. You so fancy. They're telling you to leave and you're refusing. This is a disgrace. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Eric said, any African or African country who supports this devil Macron is an enemy to Africa. 100%. Thank you, Eric. You're 100% correct. Guys, please hit the like Here, let's go.
Let's break this down. Now, first things first, here is where he's being held hostage. This is really not that bad of a deal. He has an entire embassy where he's being held. Now, according to the French president, the ambassador of France, and the diplomats who also hang out in this area are being forced to eat military rations, MREs. The French had the opportunity.
Sir, they are not being forced. They are putting themselves to this. No one is forcing them. Like, they could probably leave, you know, they could move back to France, or since they are friendly with Nigeria, they can just go over and go hang out in Nigeria. Then they would have good food to eat. But no, they don't want to do that. They just want to set Niger up. That's what they're trying to do. Jama, thank you for the super chat. He said, Nigeria, the giant of Africa, needs to make some noise like the blacks. Ghana is sleeping. Yes, they need to make some noise. That's right. And, you know, there are some Nigerians making noise. But now France is crying victim. And Eric, thank you again for the super chat. And Eric is right. He said, any African or African country supporting them, this devil is an enemy. And I agree. So this is the game that Macron is playing. And guys, you are seeing it. You are seeing it play out. Like out in the open, trying to set Africans up. Do you guys know how many African leaders, African countries that these people have destabilized? How many leaders France have helped kill in Africa? Did you not see, even in Burkina Faso, they just tried to somebody tried to pull off a coup on Ibrahim Traore. Did you guys hear this? And you know who's probably behind that. So here we go.
To leave, but they also had the opportunity to try and talk peace, but it never happened. Let's dig into this and see what this hostage situation is all about. Okay, so nearly every single news article is reporting the exact same thing, and we're going to see exact quotes from the president of France. Now, you'll note
Western propaganda. So they tried, the ECOWAS route failed, so he wanted to keep the ambassador in. So you see, their media, the Western media. Now you see who owns the media, right? So this is why the things they report on Trump, don't you think it's a conspiracy? How come all the time it's all one-sided? Now you are seeing the big lie. So when one reports it, they all report it. They all report it. So that's their way of beating the war drum. Here we go.
Notice it says here, French ambassador to Niger held hostage in embassy, President Macron says. Now you'll notice there's a quotation, or, you know, held hostage. And you'll see why this might be a little over embellished. Maybe it looks like the French are trying to instigate a problem here, or maybe the French are trying to find a reason to provoke a fight.
I hate this guy.
So guys, you're seeing what is happening. So if France, if these people, if Africans start just, you know, taking off on the French, do you think you can blame them? So they want France out. So they started cooking up fake stories so they can invade. So let me show you guys. I came across this discussion, since they like to talk about they want to talk about how they give aid to African countries. Let's find this. Astro said Niger has no legal justification, so it's impossible to make France look bad. Just say what you want to revolt. No, Astros, what you have to realize is, yes, I get it. They signed that fake document with Bazoom, right? The guy they removed. Okay, fine. Let's say that's what they want to go by. You know, the documents they signed, the duration they signed it for expired, sir. You see, it expired and the junta don't want to renew it. But France is saying, no, you got to. So even if they go, if they want to go through the legal route, it's expired. So the junta is in charge. They're not going to sign it. So France is toast. Macron have no legs to stand on. So this is why Macron don't want to talk to those Negroes. The Negroes in charge, that's right. The new business people for Niger, yeah, they say, hey man, we ain't giving the uranium out for free. You gotta pay up. The days of free is long gone. Okay, let's look at let's look at this. Let's look at the aid that they talk about. I came across this discussion, very, very interesting. Let's hear what they gotta say. And this guy, he breaks it down to a T. So here we go.
I wanted to ask a bit about the issue of aid, Eugene, because in the way that this issue has been covered, as we see a lot of these countries pushing back against the West and France and, you know, all of these like military coups and all of the sort of anti-colonial, anti-imperialist rhetoric that we're seeing. One thing I've seen a lot in media and then also coming from Western leaders is really playing up the issue of aid, right? And how much aid the West gives to this region, almost like a how dare they when we just give them so much because they're so impoverished, but then also even openly discussing weaponizing that aid and denying that aid to these impoverished countries that are of course impoverished by Western policy as a means to punish countries like Niger, like Mali, who are pushing back against basically Western imperialism if they don't comply. So I'm curious if you could maybe set the record straight here. What can you tell us about that Western aid that they keep dangling in front of these countries and then threatening to suspend and then actually suspending? Has it actually helped those countries? Which, by the way, we should also mention, many of these countries have really high debts also because of Western policy.
So here we go. So this is a great conversation. So Afridamus, play some African journalists. We've already played video on the African journalists. So TikTok is the gold standard of geopolitics. Ma'am, oh sir, you can cut clips that are relevant and put it on TikTok. Just like you put it on YouTube, TikTok is just a platform. So it doesn't, just because it's on TikTok doesn't make it irrelevant. His speeches are on TikTok. Does that mean they are not relevant? So that game is not going to work. So let's see. You tend to hear African countries are in debt, blah, blah, blah. But because there's a shack in the middle. Here we go. Let's let this man here break it down.
Is also, bragging about all the aid they give.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I saw, I don't know, some guy, I don't know who he was, but on French television, really turning up his nose at Russia and saying, oh, well, the Russians, they're providing
So you see, I'm touching on all grounds, African journalists. This is a ADOS guy, Black American. So the blacks are in the mix. They are here. So now this is international blackness happening here. So let's hear the FBA intelligent man here break it down. He's not a Pookie or a Rere. This is a real black man, not a black, but a Black American. Let's hear him expose this fake aid they give. So those of you that like to say, oh, look at the blacks don't know about Africa, they're not interested. You are certainly wrong. I've been telling you guys here that the blacks are contributing immensely. They are paying attention to what is happening. So here we go.
Some small amount of aid, and he's like, and that's only a fraction of what France is providing in terms of aid to these countries. So the perception that's created, I think, both in this crisis with people using it as a talking point, but I think also just in the broader sort of conversation about Africa, is you hear these big numbers that are decontextualized, that they're giving large amounts of aid, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in aid, and obviously to individuals that's large amounts of money, but when you really compare it to the scale and the need of what's happening, you can see that it's totally minuscule, it's absolutely cosmetic, and in many ways it's just a cover for the reality of what they're doing, which is maintaining a system that is deeply exploitative, that's keeping these countries poor.
Do you guys hear that? The aid is just cover. So these people are 419ers. It's cover. So when you hear these numbers, like you hear billion, 5 billion, to an individual, that's a lot. But mind you, these people are saying they are giving this to countries. It's not even giving, it's, pledging. Pledging. So here we go.
But to get to the exact issue, I think this is notable. So if you look at Niger, for instance, and you take all the aid they got in 2021, it all amounts to $71 per person. So all the aid in Niger and all of 2021, if you break it down per each of the individual 25 million people, it's $71 per year per person. So that's about $1.37 per week per person. And out of that $1.37 per week per person in.
So do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that? So clearly, this quote unquote aid, just $71 per person throughout that year. What is $71? So now you see how it makes sense. It's the Westerners that write and say in these countries, the people, it only takes, you live off of $1.25 a day. And have you ever asked yourself, how did they come up with this number? So they are saying, you, me, the dusty Africans, you only deserve to live off of $1 a day. $1. You can't even get a burger with that. But that's what they're telling you. So this quote unquote aid is fake. It's a 419. These people are worse than Hush Puppy. But they want us to believe that Hush Puppy was stealing. These people are stealing more than Hush Puppy. Here we go.
Aid to Niger in 2021. 7 cents were spent on education, 15 cents on health. So 7 cents a week per person on education, 15 cents a week per person on healthcare. The bulk of it is actually spent just on survival style aid, right? Like people who are going to starve if they don't. But you can see almost none of it is really going towards, really significant buttressing. And, when I saw that.
Did you guys hear what he said there? Very interesting. Now it makes sense why, they show videos of the pictures of like people that are starving, hungry people. You're like, man, do these people, their aid money, they only support the poor. And these people, you notice, for some reason, they say they're helping them, but these people never stop being hungry. Their hunger just keeps increasing. This is why my word to you, my African brothers and sisters, do not believe in this aid. We grow what we eat and eat what we grow. We need to rely on ourselves. Period. Grow your own food. These people giving you dusty dollar talking about, oh, we gave you aid, $1 a day. You can't even get a cheeseburger with that. Here we go.
Quote, which I have to say are that those numbers I got from Adam Choose, who wrote about it in his Financial Times column. I got interested in looking more into this because I said, wow, that's amazing. Just $1.37 a week per person in aid in 2021. So I said, well, what's been going on in some of these other years? And especially because we're hearing a lot about how France, and other countries are stopping their development aid in the context of, what's happening there in Niger. Now, the French development aid in all of 2022 to Niger, all of 2022 was, and forgive me for looking at my notes, but I want to get this right. We know the French media is watching. $131.6 million to Niger for all of 2022. That's $5.26 per person. Germany, who's also paused their aid to Niger, has a 2-year aid package. That's what they paused. It was last negotiated in 2021. So 2 years, also $131.6 million. So since it's over 2 years, that's $2.63 per person per year. The European Union, which has also paused their aid, is pausing a 2022 to 2026 aid package. So that's—
Oh, sorry, guys. I wasn't even in the screen. What I was saying is Germany is part of this. They go through the EU route, you know. So if you notice what they are saying, oh, we are giving aid to these people. Have you noticed something also? The people they showcase for this aid, they are always ashy because they are giving them a quote unquote $1 a day. How can you afford lotion in that? They seem to find the dustiest people to showcase and say, oh, we're giving them aid. So now you're seeing that the aid game is no different than being a Yahoo boy in Nigeria. These Europeans are pulling a Yahoo boy style, meaning the 419. Instead of writing on the internet saying, I'm a Nigerian prince, the Europeans, they are banding together. They bring their military and they're pretending. They're like, oh, we're giving you aid, you poor dusty Africans. But why don't they just pay the fair amount of what the things they need? They pay it for. They don't need to decide for Africans, what they need or what they should do with their money. They always want to tell the Africans, oh, you gotta do X, Y, and Z with this money. Oh, you gotta do this and that. It's all a scam. All a scam. It is so disgraceful to see that these Europeans have been stealing from us Africans all these years. But they're quick to say, oh, look at these poor people, when they are the thieves. But here we go.
That's 5 years, $2.5 billion over 5 years. That's $20 per person per year. So you add up Germany, France, and the EU, basically per year, you're getting barely $32-ish, essentially, maybe a little less than that, barely $30 worth of aid per person. And, it's a part of a bigger issue. The U.S., by the way, don't want to leave the U.S. out. Their aid for 2023 that they have also stopped was supposed to be $233 million for the whole year, which is $9.32 per person. And since the State Department has done such a great job of breaking that amount of money down into what they're spending it on, that would be $1 per person per year for health, $1 per person per year on economic development, and $4.38 per person for the year in education funding. So when you break it down like that, when you think about the actual number of people in the country, the depth of the need, you can see that this aid is basically just fake. And the UN,
Man, sorry guys, I keep being out of frame. I'm back. Sorry. Guys, what I was saying is they want, they're talking about, oh, we're going to stop the aid. What aid are they giving them? And Zongo is over here talking about, don't undermine the aid. Zongo, do you not hear the information that is being, decimated here, that is being distributed here right now? This is what the game is. It's not really a real thing. They are taking out more than they are putting in. That's just what it is. So, Zongo, are you telling me that these people, $1 a day, they can't even buy a cheeseburger with that? $1 a day, you can't get a Happy Meal with $1 a day. Okay, so they are saying these people only deserve $1 a day. So why don't France just pay the fair price for the resources and stop trying to continue to steal with these people? Exactly, Astros. You cannot get a Happy Meal with this. You can only buy an unhappy meal with it. This is why the people they showcase in those videos, do you see how hungry they are? You got the flies all up on them. They're so hungry, they can't even, tell the fly to move away. Man, these Europeans are vicious. And I'm not saying it's their population, but their government. This is their quote unquote, their government doing this. So here we go.
The OECD has actually already addressed this issue and found that there is a gap of about $272 billion per year in the funding that is needed to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, which of course all these countries say their aid is going to support the UN, the SDGs, by 2030. So you can see essentially that almost no money is really being spent on the people of Niger. Most of the money is being extracted and sent into Europe. And this is all just used as a smokescreen to hide the fact that these are deeply exploitative economic relationships.
Yeah, it's complete. What a complete scam. And it's all, I love that you described it as a smoke screen, because at the same time, it's like, okay, you're getting all this wealth out. You're extracting all this wealth basically for free. And then you're throwing in pennies. And then when we talk about what the need is, these countries actually could fill their own need. It's just everything is being taken from them to support, luxury in the global north. So they don't, it's not like the US or Europe actually needs to give them hundreds. Well, they should give them hundreds of billions of dollars in reparations. But in a just world, it wouldn't even be necessary to send any aid. If anything, the aid would be coming the other way around because Europe has nothing to offer. But sorry, I'm just reacting now. I really appreciate you breaking all that down because it's quite, that should be put into charts just to show it as a visual, because what you just said is quite astounding. But this kind of also brings us back to this, what you call a social explosion. And I think, as you've said before, there's the potential for so many more social explosions across Africa, basically because of what you just described. But why is it that France seems to be sort of like the tip of the spear here in the response or the reaction of these social explosions that we see across Western Africa? Obviously some of that is because of the colonial legacy, but it must be because of something that France continues to do today. I assume, I have a feeling. But what is it about France?
No, I think you were right about that. And I think it's that, when we look at, as I mentioned earlier in the show, obviously all of sub-Saharan Africa is suffering from very similar issues in terms of poverty, the unemployment, especially youth unemployment, all of the various challenges that are being faced, insurgencies. But, I think there's almost an inordinate amount of that suffering that is concentrated in these, sort of former French colonies, which is some of them actually not all French colonies, but, can be seen in the CFA Franc zone. About 50%, if you look at the Human Development Index, which is one way of measuring, how good or how bad a country is doing essentially in terms of poverty, development, and so on. If you look at the 10 countries at the bottom, half of them are in the CFA Franc zone. So you can see that already, and many of them are Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, but you can see already that these countries have sort of an inordinate reality. And I think that when you look at the history, the contemporary reality of development, people see that that's not an accident, that France is actually maintaining structures that in and of themselves make it very difficult, even if you were a, popularly oriented government, to make significant changes. And that's why I mentioned the CFA Franc zone. That's the number one.
So do you guys hear that? So France, now everything is making sense. So people that are coming here, they try to dispel this. You are seeing clearly why France is fighting so hard not to leave, because they are scamming these people. They are scamming them. They have this, like Central African countries, Cameroon, Gabon, all these other countries. You have the West African countries. France controls their money. These people's money is pegged to the euro. It's pegged to the euro. So they are keeping these countries poor. But here we go.
An issue in many ways is that the currency is controlled, not by France, but to some degree by Europe in and of itself, because now, of course, France doesn't have its own currency. It also uses the euro. But since formal independence for these countries in the CFA Franc zone, their currency has been more or less controlled by their former colonial overlord. And it has a lot of different elements to it, but I think there are a few that are very relevant here. I mean, the most important is that the CFA franc, and there's two of them, one in West Africa, one in Central Africa, is pegged to the euro. So it's basically the same price as the euro. And that has a huge impact on these countries because it makes it very difficult for them to develop, their own industries, for one, right? I mean, if you think about it like this, if you live in Europe, if you live in the United States, when you travel to somewhere in the global South, like the way that your $50 in America can get you 2 or 3 times what it could in the US, when you're in these other countries. It's more or less the same thing as it concerns investment in general. And so many countries, not just developing countries, pretty much all countries, they try to manipulate their currency, so to speak. It's often called...
You guys hearing this? So you see how the exploitation game is working. So it's not only France, it's EU. The EU, they've all united in, exploiting these nations. So basically, these countries are, indirectly part of the EU, but they don't get the benefits of EU. So their money, controlled by France, gives France more power over them. Oh, here we go. Zongo said, Afridamus, how is this a scam if these dusty Africans agree to that? Okay, don't worry, Zongo. I will open the line for only an hour. You would get the opportunity to engage in conversation. I would hope, some of you would want to come here and discuss this with Zongo as well. Visionary said, about France, I don't know, but otherwise the source of where aid money is coming from is possibly not the same source where the money's exploitation is going to. Well, Visionary, you do not know, and you do not know. So therefore, we here, France and EU, have been exposed. They have been exposed because now we are seeing why they want to fight so hard to hold on to Niger. And Niger is supposed to be so broke. They're supposed to be so broke, but little did we know, these people are sitting on millions and millions of dollars, and they can't even afford shoes. And then we come to realize, they said, you see those white people, those Europeans, they are walking around with their guns. Some are wearing suits, pretending to be nice. You do realize these are actually thieves. That's right. Guys, aren't you? Is it just me, or are you seeing the game that is being played here? Africans being robbed, broad daylight. And then you turn around, the person you robbed, you turn around and pretend like you're helping them. This has been the game from the beginning. And of course, you're going to have, Africans like Zongo who would try to, support their white master. But I don't blame him. And I hope Zongo knows that Ghanaians, it's not every Ghanaian, they share this sentiment with Zongo, because Ghanaians are out there at the UN, their president, Nana Akufo, was giving speech at the UN Assembly. Ghanaians were out there protesting. I'll do a show about that. They do not approve of him. So, there's a new day in Africa. Fine. Those of you that want to continue the aid thing, the rest of Africans, and I hope those of you that are watching me here, I hope you guys are on board to say no to this fake aid. Let these people control their own destiny. I mean, that's not a hard thing to ask for. But anytime someone is trying to tell you that how much you need them, they are trying to pimp you out. That's what pimps do, guys. They exploit you. Or they come, oh, look at China and Russia. So they try to treat Africans like children. We don't need you to tell us what Russia and China is doing. Let's focus on what you've been doing for the past, 400 years. I mean, Africans have been trading with these people for longer than that. So, I mean, trade. It's not a real trade, but here we go.
Called devaluation in order to try to make their exports more competitive. So the way it helps you develop new industries, more industries, because, rather than your neighboring country or 3 countries away, you become more attractive to build a factory to develop, this industry or that industry. But when you have the CFA franc, these countries can't devalue their own currency to be more competitive. And so ultimately it means, why would you go to, say, Mali when you could go to Ghana? Why would you go to Central African Republic when you can go to DRC? When you can go somewhere that has the ability to actually make it more worth your money. So just right there, it stops these countries from being able to develop their own industries, and it makes it actually better to import things than to export things. The other thing that it does, since you have full convertibility of the CFA franc to euros, is encourages people to take the money out of the country. So if you are one of the handful of wealthy elites in the country, it's actually more valuable to take your money out of the country and convert it to euros, the better currency, than to invest inside of your own country. It's also the same for companies that are working there. Rather than reinvest, better to take it out. So then you have the issue of capital flight also being encouraged by the use of the CFA franc, and capital flight is a huge issue in Africa anyway. So it's an even bigger issue in the context of this. And there are different elements of it as well. Is that since you can't change the value of your currency in the sense that it's pegged to.
So, do you guys hear this? So these countries, their hands are tied behind their backs. So like Zongo is saying, the Africans signed that. No, the Africans did not sign that, Zongo. Zongo, they have what they call Franc Afrique. When they quote unquote, remember, these white people have been in charge, especially these French. They were the ones that, put themselves in charge of these countries officially. So they came, they're like, oh, we're going to give you independence. They got their puppets and say, oh, you got to sign this document to say this. But the puppets are the ones benefiting. So unless you think that it's okay, like in the case of Gabon, where one family rules for over 50 years, and then, the French support it because all the wealth goes to one family, or like one single few people are benefiting and millions of people are suffering. So it's like that system cannot work, because if the resources is in the ground, in the country, it belongs to everyone. Each and every citizen, deserves a piece of that pie. So to say this aid, blah, 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 the aid is fake. It's a 419 game. It's a 419 game. I don't think you understand how much of a thief these Europeans are. EU they are thieves. They went to Libya. Look at what they did there. Bombed the place and robbed Gaddafi of all his gold. Europe doesn't produce gold. These European countries, they have so much gold stash. You think their wealth, where do you think they got their wealth from? You need to start thinking. Look at all the things they have. They don't have it. They don't produce it in Europe. Where did they get it from? How did they get it? They pointed guns at people. They robbed people. Yeah, they did. And they continue to do it. The latest robbery is in Niger. They stopped their robbery. Look at how they are acting. All bending out of shape, talking about trying to set them up. They are like, your ambassador gotta leave. They are refusing to leave. They are pretending to be victims. And now you're seeing for yourself. The aid game. Look at the aid game. Who are they giving this aid to? That is the question we should be asking. Guys, get the likes up. Get the likes up. All right. So Zongo said, Afridamus Akufo-Addo even applied to make Ghana part of the former colonies of France. Oh my God. I'm not surprised. Now it all makes sense why the Ghanaians need to protest him. I'm telling you, these quote-unquote fake leaders, these presidents, look at Paul Biya in Cameroon. Paul Biya has been there over 40 years. Congo, I'm talking Brazzaville, over 40 years. Right? And I can see if these people were improving the lives of their people. But now, so this shakeup is really needed. It's time for you Negroes in the black factory to wake up.
To the euro. For companies in Europe, this means that these governments and these countries in the CFA Franc zone are really safe investments, right? Because you invest in, say, Ghana, and if you invest today and the cedi, that's the Ghanaian currency, is worth X, and then by the time you want to take your money out, it's worth Y, and that's less, you've lost money essentially. But you know that if you invest in Mali, if you invest in Chad, if you invest in Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, that ultimately the price is going to be the same as the euro, and it makes it a very safe investment. And so for a number of different companies, Orange, the telecom company, many of the pharmaceutical companies in France, many other European countries, it's an important area. It's not necessarily their largest area of economic activity. France now may not even be their number one, trading partner, but nonetheless, for many strategic sectors, especially pharmaceuticals, telecommunications, and a few others, and also mineral resources as well, it's this very just safe place to invest your money, to be able to extract it and make a lot of money, because since you can't devalue your currency, the easiest way for these
So guys, you see that? So neocolonialism is even worse than the colonialism. So these people's money is pegged to the euro. So a European person, European company, for them to invest, mind you, in these countries that they said are poor and destitute, right? If you're a European, you're safer to invest in these countries because their money is pegged to the euro. An African country, their people cannot afford to live like Europeans. Their money is pegged to the euro. So when would these people get out of poverty? But these Europeans, because it's not only France, the EU, Germany, all these people, they come together. They are like, hey, it totally makes sense for these people to only live off of $1, but their money's value is pegged to the euro. So this is not good. So they need to be kicked out.
Countries to maintain competitive is to make sure wages are as low as possible, to hold wages as low as possible, to make it difficult for people to join trade unions, to use force to try to disperse people from organizing and developing their economy. And so I say all that just to say that when you look at why France is becoming, why the Francophone African countries seem to be, the tip of the spear, as you say, in terms of this revolt happening across Africa, isn't because neocolonialism isn't operated by, America, by Britain. It isn't because people in other countries aren't upset with it. But I think there is a unique combination of both the sort of historical colonial factor and the current and contemporary structures maintained by France that have created an inordinate amount of suffering in the CFA Franc zone countries, that has created a bubbling up that's at the leading edge of a type of anger that I think we actually see all across the African continent. And that's why former British colonies like Nigeria, like Ghana, that's why former Portuguese colonies, why, other countries are also very much fearful that their populations could, of course, rise up in a similar way. But, I think certainly we're just seeing certain countries be the leading edge because of, this reality of what France is actually doing today, and how that really is like rubbing salt in the wound of what they've done in the past to heavily underdevelop these nations, to make it basically crippling them from their ability to grow and develop.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I also wanted to ask you before we wrap up here, Eugene, and that is, I've seen some conversations about, this regime isn't truly this, or this regime isn't pure that, like this coup regime or that coup regime. I guess I kind of raise that to say I'm sort of like, making fun of a little bit of the debate on the Western left about this sort of things, but about that sort of thing. But like, if we're talking about these countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Gabon now, all of these countries that have had these coups and that seem to be pushing, in the case of at least the first ones I mentioned, really pushing hard against France. How would you rank them in terms of their, I don't know, let's talk about motivations, revolutionary potential taking place in the aftermath of these coups? I guess the word progressive isn't the right word, but like, how do you rank them in terms of who's the most serious? What I'm saying? Like, who's the hardcore, like most hardcore to least hardcore?
Well, in all rankings, I could end up looking bad on this one. But before, maybe I get to that aspect of it, I do want to provide some greater context to how I think we should view it too. Because, even if you look at Gabon.
So Gabon is definitely fake. So, but let's hear what he will say here on the rankings of the coups.
Again, as I said earlier in the show, I mean, it seems that perhaps the military transition is trying to seek curry the favor of France, perhaps, and is not trying to push negatively. But we'll see how long that stays. I think even when you see that, and I think, Guinea in a way can be put in a similar situation, not exactly the same, but you've seen if you compare, say, Guinea to Mali and Burkina Faso, Guinea is the role of France more ambiguous there. The guy who's taken over, his wife is like a French cop. I mean, it's an interesting story. So, they've actually been doing some things, I think, standing with Mali, standing with Niger.
Did you guys hear that? So the president of Guinea, his wife is a cop, a French cop. That's right. A French cop. Gabon, the Gabonese, Gabon is a strange one. I've never seen a military coup where the leader gets sworn in like an elected president. And also, Gabon, they are going to continue the exploitation, the status quo. Okay? So let's be clear about that.
But you see them not as aggressively going against France. I mean, so it's a little more ambiguous. But I think even in the cases of, say, the Gabons or the Guineas, where we'll see what happens, but perhaps the motivations are more about the power struggles in those countries than the negative state of affairs for their populations. I still think it all represents one big crisis for France and one big crisis for the US-EU neo-colonial policy in Africa, because they did not want these things to happen. Even if it ends up being semi-favorable to them, even if they can work out a deal to keep things going the way they had been going before, this is a change in the style of governance and control that they want to have over Africa that they did not foresee coming and that they did not want to happen. So it shows that whatever the various outcomes, that at the end of the day, you're seeing the ability of Western hegemony to totally determine the state of affairs in Africa is collapsing. I mean, even I've seen many commentators speak about this, that they're like, if this happened 20 years ago, France would have intervened in 2 hours in half these countries and overturned the government. But we're seeing that they fear doing that. The Italian defense minister actually spoke to this. He said, well, we don't want to do too much too openly, because then people will see it as a colonial imposition.
Do you guys hear that? Things have changed. I'm telling you, it's changed because the people's minds are opening. People are beginning to see reality. But here,
and then we'll be in an even worse situation. And so I think you can see the sort of collapse of hegemony, even if there are individuals and figures who really just want to renegotiate the terms of the subordination of their nation. That's not a renegotiation that the imperialist powers wanted to see happen. So I think it's important to keep that framing in mind. But I think when we look at the countries themselves, obviously there's different gradations. I think for obvious reasons, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, because of his comments at the Russia-Africa Summit, comments that he's made, in front of youth in Burkina Faso, I think many people are looking to Burkina as maybe the leading edge of these military transitions, these civil military projects, because it seems that he is speaking very directly to the
I agree. Burkina Faso, they are going all the way in. They are not holding back. They really, really want real change.
The social time bomb that has exploded, that has led to all of these different pieces in terms of trying to implement policies that will address, the needs of the people who have been so left out. And so, for instance, they have set the goal for themselves, an ambitious goal, we'll see if they meet it, of creating 1 million jobs in the next couple years, giving 100,000 solar-powered water pumps to rural areas so that they can have clean water. They're saying that by 2025, they're going to spend $250 million on maternal health care, that they're going to electrify 605 localities, and that they're going to spend about 150-ish.
Have you guys seen? This is Traore in Burkina Faso. This is his vision. This is not European saying, this is what we're going to do for you. This is what he and his people, this is what they want to do for the country.
144, but close to $150 million on fertilizer, agricultural machinery, and seeds for farmers. Obviously, most of the people there live in rural areas and do work in agriculture. They grow a lot of tomatoes in Burkina Faso, but they don't make ketchup. So they're developing 3 new tomato processing plants to try to move up the value chain there. They've picked 3 artisanal mining sites that they're now trying to mechanize. They're also meeting with large numbers of artisanal miners to talk to them about how they can improve the working conditions. And artisanal is like a terrible term. You hear it a lot in Africa. That's like artisanal mining is the people who are basically just like digging holes in the ground. It's very, very dangerous. It pollutes the ground. You use mercury and cyanide to find the gold. So they're engaging with these young people and trying to find a way to bring them into the economy. And the way they're paying for some of these new projects is also interesting. They're also trying to set up a gold refinery, by the way. A lot of gold in there that's coming out of there. But the way they're paying for it is interesting. I mean, one, they have changed the mining code to redirect a lot of mining royalties directly into these new development projects. But also, they've created something that has the acronym of APEC, APEC, which is basically like a form of crowdfunding for Burkinabe people in the country and outside the country. You can buy in for about $25, although you can spend a lot more.
That's a smart idea. So if you want to invest, think about it. You can invest as low as doing like a crowdfunding to invest into the Burkinabe economy. Not only would you eventually benefit, you are going to be helping, the government there to help create. These people are creating 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs. So, Kidol, I see you there. Just hang tight. This video should end in a second here, and I'll bring you in.
More. But the goal is to have these development projects be funded primarily by the resources of the country and by the resources of the population and the diaspora, so that the new development projects have a sustainability because they're really rooted in the Burkinabe reality. So I think, it's fair to say from my point of view that Burkina has the most advanced discourse, on this issue of, really addressing development. We'll have to see how it goes moving forward, but I think that's notable. I think Mali probably next. And it's interesting we brought up the issue of France and how much money they're spending because, Mali has just changed their mining code to increase basically local ownership of mining from, 20% to 35% of most.
So you guys listen to this. So these people, the changes that is happening, this is phenomenal. This is great. So we live in the internet age. Like, you live in the diaspora, for example, people have been talking about, I want to invest to where I help, for instance. These people are opening up the owning, for example, like Burkina Faso, the crowdfunding sort of source thing, right? You can invest as low as $25. That's $25. So that goes a long way. So you're going to be helping, not only you, but to help these people help create jobs for people. So you'll be helping them, advance their mining, bring equipments, advance their farming, all that. So at some point, like they're going to advance and eventually you can benefit, but you can give them as low as $25. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to try to find out. If I find the link where you can make all this happen, I will post it. If anyone knows it, feel free to put it in the chat as well.
Most of the projects, and I want to get this number right. Their expectation is that it will create in upcoming years, basically like per year into the budget, it'll give them about $820 million more dollars a year in their budget. So a fair amount of money. But the reason I say that vis-a-vis aid, because at the height of the French, operations in Mali, so 2013 to 2017 was like a big year for French operations in Mali. Over those 5 years, they gave $490 million to Mali in aid. So that means just by increasing to a relatively low amount to 30 some odd percent, the national share of mining projects, Mali will get almost as much money in 1 year as France gave them in 5 years. So it shows the difference between aid.
Do you guys hear this? So when these French people come talking and talking in their French language, say aid to Nigeria, it's all fake. All fake. So look at it. Mali, what Mali is making for themselves. It's way more than what France is talking about aid. They gave it to them in 5 years. This is why it's good to be free, guys.
And really making a big, impact in terms of your mineral resources. The government of Mali is a longer story, but, they have a deal essentially with the main trade unions of Mali around a range of different things they're supposed to be doing. On May Day of this year, the unions reported that, some things are happening, some things are not. The implementation of it is uneven, but, one of them, for instance, is to try to raise the wages of public sector workers and private sector workers. The IMF, by the way, this year is complaining that Mali is spending too much money, paying people better salaries in the public sector, and they better stop. So there's been a 91% increase in public sector wages since 2019. In the private sector, there's not as much happening. The gold mining issue is part of this pact with the trade union. So obviously they're moving on that. They're not moving on some issues of land reform. There's some issues vis-a-vis education. And so it's an uneven sort of piece, but the trade unions in Mali did support the most recent constitutional referendum, continue to support the transitional regime, and they continue to try to work in tandem to, put forward, things that are related to this, February 5th, 2021 agreement they made. So I think that speaks to something there as well. If, the 120,000 workers organized under Mali's main trade union federation feel that at least there's still an opportunity to work through.
Yeah, well, guys, you see that, right? So the lines are open. Hit the link. We won't be here for too long, but I see Kidola back there. Kidola, welcome to the Afridamus Report. Kidola, are you there?
Yeah, Afridamus, I'm here.
Oh, Kidola, welcome. Kidola, you've heard, you see they talked about the aid and France, Macron, you see he's trying to set Niger up so they can invade and attack them. Despite all of us seeing this, because if we can see it, I'm sure Tinubu, the African ECOWAS leaders, they all see it. So, Kidola, what do you think us as Africans or African ECOWAS, should ECOWAS support France in their aim here to take over Niger?
I don't think ECOWAS is not going to invade Niger. France is not going to invade Niger because France wanted to use ECOWAS.
Right.
All those talk the Tinubus and the Ghana man president was talking about was in a way for them to go in, but the whole thing leaked to they wanted to go in very fast so that their parliament would not approve it, right?
Right.
But what happened is that the whole thing leaked and the Nigerian senators were not just fine with it at all. They don't want nothing to do there because Nigeria have a very big problem.
Because Kidola, I don't understand why Tinubu was even fraternizing with France, because France is a big problem for Nigeria in West Africa.
Yes, some of these Hausas in the northern part believe France is the one that aided these jihadists. This is what this.
Well, this is what the evidence is pointing to. Because why is France always saying, "Oh, we want to help you with the jihadists," but they've been there years. The jihadists keep getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Who is giving the jihadists weapon? The jihadists. We know these people are Muslims. Muslims didn't invent any weapons. We know these jihadists can make no guns. Where are they getting it from?
So the northern Nigerians over the Sokotos who doesn't trust the French at all have so kind of believe that the French hands are not too clean in their own part. You see, the French thought they could use Tinubu, and that was just the way they used Jonathan and all those other ones in the Ivory Coast, But this one is too thick. One, Niger and the northern part of Nigeria, they are like family. You cannot go and invade them. No Nigeria, Awosama can go to Nigeria and go and invade Niger.
Well, Kidola, while I was doing my research, I've seen, I did not know, like in Nigeria, they're not they're not showing it, but there were people out there protesting against the French, in the north, there are Nigerians protesting against them, burning the French flag.
If you go to the northern part of Nigeria, they have family, Chad, Niger, so part of Cameroon also. These people are like family. I swear, though I don't think any outside general will ever command a military post to Niger. And Igboma will not even dare to enter there because he will stand out.
Right.
The problem Nigerians, the northern Nigerians have also with this Francophone people, because you see the way they colonize them is far different from the way the British was being colonized other part of the other place. So they themselves for a very long time see themselves as French.
Right.
First, they call French motherland. You understand me?
You know why, Kidola? You know why? These French colonies had representatives who are in the French parliament. So, they were in the French parliament. I think they still have it, and they deceive them. They say they are French citizens. but they are
Yes,
not French citizens.
yeah. That's why the loyalty come from those set of people. The man that you overthrow in Niger have that type of mindset. You
Yeah.
understand? It's a French first. All the French leaders that are even some of these generals believe they are French, only that they have problem. So you see, the you can see that why the Agroforce are very confused with the French countries is that you can never really trust none of them. You can
Mhm.
never really trust none of them at all. They will just betray you before you do anything. You understand me? Because one, they eat similar way. You have to start
They
the
eat
French
they
have,
eat like the French.
they eat like the French. So even when they have their own traditional food,
Hold on,
like
what kind of do they eat croissants and
they eat croissant, they eat baguette, they eat um they eat all kind of all kind of
so I think because
they stock,
what they want to sound more French.
yeah, they stock broad and all those things. You know what I mean?
And
So
just like the blacks, how the blacks love pancakes and
yeah, but for among all the French speaking countries, it seems like there's one that is very, very stubborn, and that one is Burkina Faso. You understand? So Burkina
oh,
Faso,
well, Burkina is the serious,
yeah,
is super
you
serious.
yeah,
They're not playing.
if you understand, it's Burkina Faso they use, is Burkina Faso youth they hire as mercenary to overthrow Bagbo. You understand? So
Yeah.
it was not really Ivory Coast boys they used to overthrow Bagbo. The Ouattara is partly Burkina Faso. That's what they said.
Mhm.
It was Burkina Faso mercenaries they rented to overthrow Babu. You understand me? Because one, they were like diehard fighters. They fight very very well, and 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 France have problem with Burkina Faso because Burkina Faso is so stubborn. You know, they were very very stubborn to handle. You understand? So that's why Ghana would not have messed with them at all. I think Ghana would have found way
So
to
do you think Ghana, because ECOWAS, how it works, the country that is closest to you is the one they send in. Do you think Ghana would have invaded in Burkina Faso? Ghana and Ivory Coast would have invaded Ivory Coast.
I think you can say the Ivory Coast man would have won that, but he knows well that the Burkina Faso is not going to answer up. They will fight hard. The Ghana president even understand that he know his neighbors. That these
You,
people,
you think you think you think Ivory Coast would beat Burkina Faso?
no, Ivory Coast is able to defeat Burkina
Yeah,
Faso.
yeah, that's what.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
God.
yeah.
I
I
don't think.
know.
I've been
I don't
watching
think they
Burkina
can. I
Faso.
don't think
No,
Burkina. I don't think Ivory Coast can defeat them.
the Africa, these are that hard. These are like you see the way they look like is just
Yeah,
the way the weather is there in that territory. You said they are aggressive. They can be nice, but they can be very aggressive. They live in a very hot temperature. If you think
yeah,
Ghana is hot, I think Burkina Faso is far more hotter. You understand me? You,
yeah.
yeah. So what you're seeing is, if I don't think Ghana president will even invade, will dare even invade Niger. You want to understand? They're all playing this game just to get loan.
And Kidola, what do you think about the new pact? Because Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, I think Guinea too. They signed this pact, defending each other. So we can say for the most part they're no longer part of ECOWAS.
Yeah,
They
yes.
have their own because they don't trust ECOWAS. So what do you think about that?
ECOWAS are a very big problem now. The problem ECOWAS is having now is that this new group of ECOWAS people is that ECOWAS will have a very difficult to operate now because one, if you're a puppet, you're a puppet. You understand me?
Right.
So you can operate. So group of ECOWAS and you don't know where the next coup will happen.
Well,
Now,
because you know what, these people in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, what they are doing, they have drawn a line. So now, people, it's not only Africans that are smart, Now, all of us were looking at things like, okay, they've drawn the line to show who the puppets are and who are for the people, because they, because they've made it clear. Now we see who is really standing up to the imperialists.
Afrodamus, let me just tell you the truth. Nigerian military is not like the Nigerian military of those days.
Yes, in the 90s. I think, you know what, Kidol, I think they weakened Nigerian military.
Obasanjo, when Obasanjo came in,
Yeah.
that's what Obasanjo did first, to weaken the Nigerian military so that the Nigerian military was not able to overthrow him. That's what he did. So the problem you see with the Nigerian military now is not the fault of the Nigerian military. It's the fault of when Obasanjo became a president, he was very scared of the coup. You understand me? So what he corrupt these generals, he allowed them to be building shopping malls, and the weapons, he would not buy them weapons. So what you see that the Nigerian military decrease in their capacity. Nigerian military cannot even go to Niger and fight that kind of long, sustainable battles while they are Boko Haram in there. Boko Haram is from Niger. You understand me?
Do you think if during Sani Abacha or Babangida, if Boko Haram would have emerged, what do you think would happen to them?
They will crush them immediately. Crush. But what happened with Obasanjo and his cronies in the north? The Obasanjo was looking for that power. I didn't want to stay in that power. So he's very, very scared of the military, because the military the same military that arrest him almost want to execute him. So he just find out, okay, what to do, corrupt them, wicked, they let them know only about money. If you understand, the other West African countries that these guys are just overthrown, they are not like that. Their mindset is not corrupted on financial means yet.
Right.
You understand me? So these are hot-headed guys that will give Nigeria the fight. And you have to say, some of these guys are the one even protecting Nigerians in those borders that Boko Haram, Niger play a very big role also there. So these are guys who, they're not yet into that militaristic things. These are real soldiers. So Nigeria going to fight real soldiers with corrupt generals is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going to work. This is not and all these things. These Nigerian soldiers are far more corrupt. These are not soldiers, these are political soldiers.
You know, when they came in 2016 to remove Yahya Jammeh, they brought, they have the Nigerian soldiers, they brought them to the airport, they brought the Ghana soldiers, they put them at the seaport, and they brought mostly Senegalese. And these Ghana soldiers, all they're doing is dancing. Can the Ghana soldiers can they
if you know what happened in Liberia, you understand how Ghana soldiers work. True Ghana soldiers, they keep Sabado. You understand this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was the Ghanaian lead. You're right.
Yeah. So Ghana soldiers have never fought in any battle, even civil war. You understand? So they never really used them as a battle-hardened, maybe some peacekeeping or somewhere, but they never really fought a straight. But look, Ghana is not fighting Boko Haram. There's nothing like Boko Haram in Ghana. You understand me? That's what they would attest how strong their military is, really. You understand me? So what you see now, I don't think any Ghana man will go to Niger. They're too smart. Look, Ghana system, I think these two, Nigeria and Ghana, they're playing a game, how to get more like financial aid and everything. I don't think they will ever dare.
But Kidol, are you surprised that this quote-unquote aid is a 419 game?
Yeah, this look, the same way they gave us umbrella and a whiskey with water, the same way they say give it this. It just, the name just changed. It's the aid and the aid of a thing. It's just the same way. Look, the people that are ruling Africa today, which is these African leaders, there's nothing different from the kings that who sold
in the past. Yeah, that sold the blacks. Yeah,
they have the same mentality. They have the same way of thinking, and they accept the same way of this aid they give it to them. You understand me? That's just what you see now. Look at Togo. Is Togo really a country? Let's just see Togo. Togo is a strip of a land being ruled by just two families for a very, very long time.
Oh yeah.
You understand me? Their military is very weak. What can Togo go and do in Niger? You understand me? That man is using Togo to protect himself. Yeah, JJ Rollins almost want to deal with them those days. You understand? You can talk about Ghana military where JJ Rollins was there.
Yes.
Not all these civilians that They're very scared of this military. They wicked them. They will wicked. They turn. Nigerian military almost turned to a police in Nigeria. Only God saved them. You start be hunting now. So you cannot blame. It's not Obasanjo. It's not these guys that wicked Nigerian military. It started from Obasanjo time.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kidola. Thank you. Supergirl, thank you for the super chat. Afridamus, American royalty would like to know who is on Kana's profile picture, please. All right. When Kana's turn comes, he can answer, or he or she. Oh, all right. Let's go to Zongo. Zongo, welcome to the Afridamus report. Zongo, are you there?
Yeah, hello. Damas, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Zongo. So Zongo, you're seeing that we're uncovering and breaking these fake, are you shocked to find out France and the EU are worse than Nigerian Yahoo boys and Ghanaian Yahoo boys? These are 419ers.
Well, first of all, greetings to you, Afridamas, greetings to the panelists, and greetings to the chat, right? I mean, I'd like to start by saying that, hey, great presentation for today's topic. But I wanted to say, like, we all know, like, the Western imperialists. I mean, they have one agenda, like they go outside the world, promote liberal democracy and rule
Fake
of law.
democracy.
Okay, liberal democracy and rule
Fake
of law.
democracy.
Fake democracy. Okay, with intention, with a goal of promoting
exploiting and stealing from other people.
No, with a goal, with the end goal of promoting capitalism and free market, right? And who benefits from this system, right? It's primarily the large corporations from their countries, right?
Okay, let me ask you this, Zongo. They want France out of Niger, okay? And you saw it, the video. They want them out. The people protested, and Macron is saying they are staying. So now he is going out again saying their ambassador is a hostage. What do you make of that? The Africans in Niger, the Negroes in this black factory want the French out. They no longer want milk added to their dark coffee, if you know what I mean. They don't want them in. They said, leave our country. He told this ambassador not to leave, to try to create problem. What do you, Zongo, make of this? They want him out. They want France out, and they are refusing to leave, and now they are claiming they are hostage. Go.
Well, it is a very dicey situation because if I try to think from the perspective of French, a lot of this chat are gonna say, "Oh, I'm just a sellout." I understand.
No, just lay it out, and maybe somebody would super chat and request a song for you or something. Who knows? They are watching, they are listening, so they want to hear you. Just go ahead. We all want to hear you.
Because the point I'm trying to say is that the energy sector of France primarily depends on the uranium, right? So obviously they're not going to leave, right? And
no. What do you mean they're not? The people in Niger.
Yeah, because the point I'm trying to say is that
they want France out. So what do you mean by they are obviously not going to leave?
I mean, the point I'm trying to say is that it's like I said before, they are promoting free market, right? So
Zongo, that's not a free market. Do you think Niger is benefiting from free market? A free market, if you cannot decide. Hold on. No, before I forget, when you say free market, right? In free market, you'll be able to negotiate. You'll be able to decide who you want to do business with or not. It's not somebody else dictating that for you. That is not a free market, but continue.
I mean, the point I'm trying to say is that in the Nigerian country, there are different factions. Certainly, it's not like a monolith country. There are other factions within the countries that hold dissenting views from this current military rulership over there.
Where are those people?
I mean, Bazoom and his political party members and other.
Bazoom is a traitor. He's no longer there.
How can you consider that a traitor? It's not on to the military leaders to make decision. It's up to the court for them to decide who's a traitor or who's not. It's just against the rule of law. anybody who lives in America and understands the way of practicing rule of law. I mean, you Negroes said you wanted rule of law in your countries, democracy, right? And it was brought into your countries. Why don't you follow the same way, the procedures that has been conducted in
Zongo, they want to follow their own way. Why do they have to follow the French who have been exploiting them?
Well, the French, see, guys. I mean, give me a little bit of grace. I'm not cooning right now. I mean, the point I'm trying to say is that
Hold on. Let me read this. American rifleman, first rifleman. Thank you for the super chat. He said, "Fight the French army if they transgress, make it expensive for them. The white man will leave if domestic issues arise." Exactly. Thank you, American first rifleman. Zongo, why are you watch are you afraid that the chat will call will call you a sellout? No, just say what you gotta say.
Let me just put it in this scenario for just for to put it in proper perspective, right? I mean, I came to you. I came to your house after that. I'm extremely strong. I came to your house. You know, you have families that you died and you let your kids, right? You have firstborn and secondborn, right? And I had to deal with your firstborn, right? And I mean, he agrees with everything. And all of a sudden, your secondborn says like, "Oh, the terms and agreement of the deals is not valid." So he want to consider the contract
It
that I signed.
expired. It expired, Zongo.
Yeah, okay. So he want to consider that that agreement as
No, but it
invalid.
expired, Zongo.
Okay, I mean, hold on first.
No,
So
but I'm saying that it's no longer valid. It's expired.
okay,
So it's not even an argument.
but
They're not gonna renew it.
but
They
the point
want them out.
but the point I'm trying to say is that I had an agreement with your firstborn, and your firstborn pretty much it's on the
But
same. Hold on.
there's the agreement. There was a date, right?
Yeah, but your
And
firstborn
it expired. They're not gonna renew it.
and your firstborn seems to agree with the terms of the contract, right? I'm not gonna deal with your secondborn because I'm not gonna recognize him. I'm gonna recognize your firstborn, which is Bazoom and his political party, and their party members. They are still citizens of those country. You can't just sideline them and just consider them as
Bazoum is no longer in charge. He's been charged with high treason. He's a criminal.
I think,
So what are you talking about?
and this is why most countries have allies with other countries, just in case if anything crazy is gonna happen, they're gonna use their friends
Yeah, but the people,
to their aid.
the people in that country, the people want the French out. They are supporting the military. They want the French out. They don't want Bazoum. Nobody's out there protesting for Bazoum. What do you say to that?
I mean, it's a military rulership, right? Because obviously, people with dissenting views are definitely gonna fear the military.
So are you saying the people out there that want the French out, these thousands and thousands of people, are you saying this is fake?
It's not. I mean, the right way is just to conduct a free and fair election. Whoever wins, final, and that's it. That's
So
how you can
let me
tell.
ask you this before I move to someone. Let me ask. So Zongo, so you think that France Macron has grounds, and he should challenge the people in Niger, go against them, and say, "F you, I'm staying in your country, and I want the uranium." You think France have that right, and that's what they should do?
I'm not saying France has the right. I'm saying Bazoum has an equal voice as well.
No,
If
he
you
doesn't
believe,
have any voice. He got
if you,
cooled. He's no longer in charge. He doesn't have a voice.
I
He
mean,
got charged with treason. He's a criminal at this point.
I mean,
So
who made,
hold on,
who made that decision?
is Bazoum, hold on, Zongo, is Bazoum the only Nigerian? Is he the only citizen of that country?
I mean, he has political party members and
No,
followers,
but
man.
is he the only person in
I
that
mean,
country?
I mean, he has members and party members. I mean, you can't just say like it's just the military
So
leaders that have followers.
do
It's
their
almost
wish
like
their will do their wish we should take their wish over the thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of Nigerians?
Afrodamas. My concern is that the military. My concern is that I fear that the people with dissenting views, opinions, and their wills are being suppressed because
But we
of
haven't seen
military
that
leaders.
though.
I mean, you can't tell. The only way
Then,
is to conduct.
but where's your proof?
The only way is to conduct free and fair election. I mean, that's the only way to
Well,
determine that.
Zongo, they gotta get the French out of their business. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it's up to the people to for them to make that decision, right?
Yes. Well, the people. Didn't you see the video?
I mean, who's going to decide if the French should stay or not? I mean,
The citizens have spoken.
I mean, who are the citizens? I mean, the citizens have
The Nigerians.
They have see. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we know in every country there are elites.
Do you really, Zongo?
Okay.
What are you?
Hold on, Zongo. Zongo, I'll come back to you in a second.
Hold on, Afridamus. I just
Okay.
wanted to also address another point that you try and like equate the aid as it's an exploitation, right? I mean, you believe in free market, right or wrong?
Yes.
I mean, you practice
But that is not free market. That is
Okay.
exploitation.
I mean, the free
That's
market.
stealing. That's scamming. 419.
Okay,
So is Hush Puppy, was Hush Puppy practicing, capitalism, free market?
Let me just make it clear to your audience, right? Huge companies, came to your countries. I mean, they have the knowledge to, untap the resources in your country.
What? Zongo, okay, let me ask you this
Can I make
quick
my
one.
point
Hold on. No, I'll ask you a quick question, then you can continue. Do you think Bazoom lost the right, the privilege, when he became a traitor to his country? Do you think Bazoom is a traitor?
I mean, who decided that he's a traitor or not? It's up to
No. Hold on, Zongo. He went. So do you think? So I'm asking you. Do you think Bazoom is a traitor to Niger?
It's up to the court for them to decide. See, let me tell you.
No, I'm asking you. No, what do you think?
How do I know?
From the story, what you've heard, what he is dealing. The people want France out. France is the thief. They are the colonialists. They are against the interests of the people. But Bazoum is dealing with France. Does that make Bazoum a treasonous person or a good person?
Afterdamus, you have to understand. I mean, I work for the state.
No, I mean, I'm just asking you. I'm asking you a question.
So, hey, I've seen situations whereby companies have even taken government to court and won the case, right?
No, I'm asking you,
know what I'm saying?
in Bazoum's case here, the people, the population, he's one person.
Yes.
Let's just say if he was a legit president.
Yeah.
But now it's clear that he is not with the people. He is with France. Does that make him a traitor to that country, or that makes him an outstanding citizen?
I mean, it is up to the court and the special prosecutor.
No, I'm asking you. No,
Yeah, but
what is your take?
My take is the court have to look into the details of the contract to determine if.
No. Okay, let's remove the court. Okay, if somebody.
No, it has to be. No, it has
No,
to be.
let me ask you, in your own dealings, someone like him, is he an upstanding citizen or a treasonous one?
I mean, you can't say he's an upstanding or not. You can't say it has to the court.
No, I'm asking you, from your take, from what you've heard, does that make him an upstanding citizen or a treasonous one?
But Afrodamus, I'm better than that. What I hear in the news.
I'm just asking you. I know you're a smart guy. You should be able to answer this.
Yeah, I just heard from the military saying that he has committed treasonous act, but there's no fact backed into that.
No, I'm asking. Forget all those. I'm asking you your take from everything you know to be true that you gathered from his behavior, talking to Macron, because Macron is the enemy to the country, which is France. He represents France. The people are against France.
I mean, who
So for example, if you have a friend, you have an enemy that's coming, you are in a bitter war with, your friend or the person you share space with supports your enemy. What would you consider that person?
See, if you guys believe in public opinion, the popular public opinion, then you always gonna pick like.
So you're not gonna answer it. I
mean, you
get
always
it.
hold on, Afidamas. See, even in Ghana, we've had occasions whereby military leaders came into power and they killed innocent.
Wait, Zongo. Someone already They didn't. you know. Before I knew, before you finish, someone is gonna buy you a song here. But just continue.
I mean,
I'm listening.
it's just looking at what is the current happenings in Trump. You know, it's like the current party in the U.S. are trying to paint Trump in a certain light just to take him from
And we know what we are seeing on the
exactly
news,
right.
and reality is not the same, right?
So the point I'm trying to say is that Bazoom, we've heard that he have committed acts of treason, right? But we don't
But
know
he's
exactly.
talking to the enemy.
Hold on first.
What do you
But
make of that?
who label those friends as
The,
being
fr-
enemies?
the country, the people.
No, it's not a country. It's
Okay,
the junta did that.
okay.
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do? Look out, boys, it's coming through. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Boy, he got educated feet.
Said thank you for the super chat. This Afridamos give Zongo native the educated feet. He got his educated feet. Thank you
I
for
mean,
the super chat.
you guys don't want this.
Hey, they bought it. I didn't buy it, Zongo.
Hey,
I mean, I'm just playing what is bought.
You guys, okay? What if let's say, giving the benefit of the doubt, what if maybe the terms and agreements that Bazoom signed, he probably didn't understand the business better. How can you tell?
Okay, but they expired.
Lord Jesus, Zongo, you're killing me.
Okay, Zongo, we'll go to St. James, but I'll come back to you. Okay, St. James. St. James is from one of those countries, and he can answer better. Let's hear from him too. St. James, welcome to the Afridamos report, St. James.
Thanks for having me. That was tough to listen, man. I'm being
St.
honest
James.
with you.
Yeah. St. James, what do you make of? Okay, clearly Niger. We all know they want France out, they want their ambassador out. And Macron is saying, no, we are not going anywhere. We are not going to recognize, these people as the rulers. They're talking to Bazoum, and Bazoum is charged with high treason. The people are out on the streets. They want France out. And Macron is saying the only person he's going to recognize is Bazoum. So do you think France, from what Zongo said, do you think France have any grounds to remain in that country?
Absolutely not. Can you imagine if the French were in China and they were asked to leave?
Well, African being in France, if Africans were in France, they would probably put them in box and send them.
Absolutely. So what I'm trying to tell you, Bazoum was the president of Niger, but the kind of agreement he signed with the French, it's between state and state. It's not between president and president.
Right.
So if Bazoum leaves, when the next man comes and he doesn't want them there, they shouldn't be there.
Right.
So whatever they talk about that, they're there because of Bazoum doesn't make sense,
Right.
So the reason why they are still there is because of ECOWAS, right? So
Right.
if you look at the speech of Tinubu at the United Nations, all of us will watch it, right?
Right.
All these people, they are scared to talk about France. That's the elephant in the room.
Right.
They don't
And
talk
and,
about
and
France.
St. James, I mean, your country signed this pact. I saw it on the news. I read about it. So so I'm guessing you guys no longer trust ECOWAS. You formed your own pact. What kind of impact do you think this would have on ECOWAS? And how did you guys come to the decision? Is it because you guys no longer trust ECOWAS, being pro-African, or how did this decision come about?
First of all, ECOWAS has never been pro-Africans. Second of all, ECOWAS never supported us. Burkina, Mali, and Niger, they never supported us in terms of any solution in fighting these terrorists. So we sat there and waited for years. That
But St. James,
solution never came.
St. James, Zongo is implying that France can stay there. Bazoom's opinions matter more than the thousands and thousands of people. What do you make of what Zongo was saying? Because he's saying nah, they need to stay there and protect their interests. But so Bazoom is a clear puppet. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that Bazoom an upstanding citizen or a treasonous one?
I don't even know why that guy still lives, man. To be honest, I'm non-violent. I don't even know why that guy still lives. Because you remember, I believe you have the video, right? The video
Right.
where he went to Paris,
Yes.
talking about Burkina and Mali, right? That our military is weaker.
Well, he
than the terrorists, right?
he was a clear agent. People like to say agent, but he was an agent.
Absolutely. Does that count for high treason, though?
That's high treason.
The commander in chief is saying that his own military is weak.
That's
Zongo,
treason.
that
That's
counts for
high treason.
So if that doesn't count, I don't know what else does.
So St. James, another question.
Mhm.
You guys in Burkina, were you guys panicking when ECOWAS is saying they're gonna invade and Ghana wants to go in, and Burkina and Ivory Coast is go, and you guys share borders with these people, and you guys are saying you're gonna go to war? Aren't you guys worried about getting invaded on both
I
sides?
would like to hear the day they're gonna set it, when they're coming. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm being honest, man. When ECOWAS is coming, so we can deal with it. Honestly, let's cut to the chase, man. When ECOWAS is coming, they're not coming. They're not coming. They're bluffing. It's like they're trying to give French time to use Niger. That's what they're doing. It's been what, almost 2 months?
Right.
They said they're ready. So we've been ready. We're on the ground. We're ready. So what's going on? Why are they not coming? They're just buying time for the French to use Niger, and we know it.
But St. James, aren't you worried? Like, because Zongo is your neighbor, and Zongo seems to be supporting the French. What if there are other Ghanaians that think like that?
Last week we spoke about it. I said it's about that time we open our northern border so the terrorists can go to Ghana. That's the best solution to have for Ghana, so they can get the taste of it. That's the best solution, because I mean, if you don't have those kind of problems in your country, it's easy to talk about the French. Nobody want them here. I'll give you an example. The French military coordinator at the French embassy in Burkina Faso was summoned to leave within 2 weeks, and he will leave. You can watch that in the news. Next week he will leave. They cannot do this to us here in Burkina. They can't, because our people will go inside the embassy. You understand?
Well, I saw the people in Niger. They attacking the embassy.
We will go inside.
Yeah.
If we ask you to leave, all this convention that you're talking about, the Geneva Convention that you cannot go inside an embassy, is off the table. If we tell you to go and you don't, we will go inside your embassy and get you out of it. That's bottom line.
And St. James, you're in Africa there, in the Sahel there. Like, for example, Zongo is giving us doubt, saying, Bazoom, because he didn't say it that way, but he implied that Bazoom have supporters. Maybe they are scared to come out because the military is stifling them. Do you see anyone supporting the French occupation in Niger?
Look at the. Do you have TV to watch the news, man? Do you see the amount of people that go outside every day?
Come on, Afridamus. This is not a French
Come on, man. Listen, I mean, he has a few people. He has a few people.
Do you consider this an invasion on your? Because the French were in your country. Do you consider this an invasion?
It's an invasion. ECOWAS should do something about it.
Zongo, what is it? Is it tourism?
Afridamus. They have about 1,000, like the 1,500 soldiers, French soldiers. They are there to fight terrorism. Ever since the coup d'etat happened, they're not engaged in anything. So they're sitting, they're standing still.
Yeah.
So what are they doing?
They are waiting to invade the country. They need to leave.
Yes. They just get it, because guess what? ECOWAS is so weak, right? So the hard work will be given to the French to attack first, then ECOWAS soldier will come second. That's what they're trying to do. So they put the French there to provoke the guys in Niger. If they fall for it, French will then attack, and ECOWAS will follow.
So
we all know.
St. James, who uncovered this French tactic to try to instigate and draw Niger into a war?
Well, this has been already used in Ivory Coast, like you said, man. We know it. So we know it.
Hold on, let me read this. Eric B, thank you for the super chat. He says Zongo is the type that would volunteer to be a slave.
Oh my
Thank you for the
super.
Listen. I hope, right? I'm not trying to instigate anything, right? I wonder the guys in Niger. They give them I believe they gave them an ultimatum to leave. He said he doesn't want to leave. I would like for them, listen, I want them to go inside the embassy. Trust me. I want them to go inside to see what's going to happen. Get them out of there, bro. You're not supposed to be there. Go inside, man. We will back you up. Trust me. Go listen. Next week, if that guy does it, listen, Zongo. Next week, if that guy in Burkina Faso doesn't leave, man, we will show you how we get it done.
St. James.
Trust me. Listen, you guys don't worry about us, man. Trust me. We don't worry about us.
So St. James, are you guys going to rely on Ghana for support?
Nah, Ghana's our cousins, but Ghana's been mumu, man. Ghana is like that wet chicken, man. We can't do Ghana right now. Ghana got a $3 billion problem, man. With IMF and all that. So let them deal with it. Zongo, have you seen Akufo-Addo he was being chased inside the UN offices? Have you seen it?
Oh no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Zongo is busy.
Zongo is busy following Macron.
Yeah, he's loving Macron, man. I mean, it's like Afridamus. Let's be honest, man. Like I told you, these agreements are between states. They are not between presidents. It's in your constitution. If you don't know it, they will play you. That's what the Malians and the Burkinabe, we told the French, this doesn't have anything to do with the president. I know if you got your favorite president here in Burkina or Mali, they will tell you, oh, you are welcome here. No, if we say you're not welcome, this is between state, the Burkina state and the French state. If we don't like you, you go. If you don't want to go, we will go inside your embassy. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, see, St. James, see, sometimes someone might project a business dealing as though you were at fault, especially if you don't have the media backing you, right? The best way is for the issue to go to the court, for the Nigerian court system, justice system.
So, but Zongo, Macron is suing the junta. What court? Why is he suing them? See, you are even laughing. Why is he why would he sue them, Zongo?
I mean, because they came.
Zongo, their country is Niger. The military is not talking about going to France. They just said leave our country. They don't want them there.
Afridamus, we know like
how difficult is that to understand, though?
We know the junta is just a bunch of some military elite who are
no, we don't know that.
What did he say?
It's a bunch of military elites. Some military elites want to control the country, right? Because Bazoum and his predecessors have been in government for some time, and they were there having like.
He wasn't there for too long, Zongo.
They didn't challenge. Okay.
Yes, they did. Zongo, he didn't stay long. They challenged and removed him. You are seeing it.
I'm saying, I mean, because the same news also say that Bazoum was, handpicked by his predecessor, right? That's the point I'm trying to say. So the business dealing has been in existence for some time.
But Zongo, that doesn't mean he's not a treasonous person, even if he's picked by whoever. The information we got, obviously from what Macron is saying, why would Macron be talking to a person who's charged with treason?
Zongo, do you think the guy called Isufu, right? The guy called Isufu, that I believe he had 2 terms. After 2 terms, he proposed Bazoom, right? And Bazoom got elected. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that transition was peaceful? Nothing happened. It was peaceful. The election was great. Nobody cheated, and Bazoom became president of Niger.
I
Do
mean,
you think that happened the way?
we know how this, African societies are, West African societies are. They're always
Okay.
gonna find a way to kind of rig the system. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
new. Even in Ghana, they do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if
Okay.
either sides will do their
Mhm.
best to rig the system. I mean, it's just
Okay.
it's just
So why are
understandable.
you going so hard for Bazoom though? If you know
I
that
mean,
that's what happened.
I'm saying the point I'm trying to say is that he also deserves a listening ear, because
No, Zongo, they've already listened to him. He's a treasonous SOB. So they want him gone.
Okay,
Don't you see the people?
Afrodamus,
Didn't you see the people on the streets of Niger? Do you Do you respect the views of the people?
Afrodamus, you guys said he committed an act of treason, right? What
Yes.
evidence?
What do you say?
Oh, come on, hold on, guy. Can I make
What
a
I
point?
what I what I
Macron just
Zongo,
said. Macron said he
Zongo,
talks to him.
what I
Yeah.
said is not act of treason.
I mean, the point I'm trying to say is that if you, because every countries have their own, within their jurisdictions, they have their own rules and law, right? And way they conduct stuff, right?
It's in the
Can I interject,
Constitution.
please? I've been
It's
very
okay.
patiently
Just
waiting to say
let me
something.
make that
Ah,
statement.
okay,
I'll be
okay,
quiet. One statement.
Okay,
I'll
go
be
ahead.
quiet. Zongo. There were when they said he committed an act of treason. That act is written in the Constitution. Even when he wrote in I believe that was the New York Post, calling the foreigners come back and come to Nigeria and help them. It's listed in the Constitution. The president cannot do that. It's there.
Yeah, but it's not the military who overthrows; it's the court that does that, my friend.
What you mean?
Well, that's not true.
It's the rule of
Okay, well
law.
let me say this. The reason why Bazoom, sorry, is a
Zoom.
treason or treason.
If it's hard, you can just call him Mr. Motisa.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, Bazoom. Okay, look. So okay, in war or when you're having any type of conflict, there's certain classifications of soldiers or people working on the enemy side that has an outsized impact on the battlefield, which is why they get more anger towards them. Example: pilots who fly in the sky, they can do a lot of damage. Intelligence agents or informants can do a lot of damage. Snipers, special forces. So when these people are caught in the course of war or conflict, they're treated a bit more harshly than a regular infantry soldier or whatever. So Bazoom, his problem is, you know how people keep saying he's a French agent, he worked for the French. Well, that's a problem. He's an agent implies he's a spy, and you know how spies are treated by the enemy when they're quote unquote captured. So there's very ample evidence that he's been working on the behalf and the behest of France, and that's treasonous all on his own. He's the president. He was the president or prime minister of Niger, not the agent of France. That's not his job. That was not his job title. So that in and of itself, and hold on, Zongo. And so that in and of itself makes him a traitor. And the people who can bring that when the top of the pyramid is the actual one committing the highest crimes like treason, you need the military and the people behind them, because without the people, there's no military. So the people got behind the military and they got rid of his behind. And that's it. So Zongo is actually, excuse me, not Zongo, sorry. Zongo, look, I understand your attachments to the white folks. You can go to France very easy. They'll let you in and you can cook and serve fried chicken to the white people over there. And there's no problem. And everybody be cool with it, dog. So go ahead. I'm on the plane.
So Zongo, let me ask you. So Zongo, let me ask you this before you reply. Hold on, Zongo, let me ask you. Zongo, okay, this is not about court. I'm asking you, Zongo. Zongo, do you think that Bazoom committed any crimes against Niger?
I mean, we don't know because the court hasn't.
No. I'm talking about what you are seeing. I've St. James gave you example. I've talked about, I've talked about what was written in the Washington Post. He is with the, the colonizer, the traitor, that the people consider the enemy. So if all the people unite against one group, they want them out, and they are not even part from that country. Do you think France have the right to make any laws, any decisions in that country?
No, absolutely.
So then why are they still there?
But the reason is that those like military, they overthrew like the incumbent president because they didn't follow the right procedures according to the constitution.
So you don't think the military have any power to kick France out?
I mean, the elites who led the overthrow are
those the military that is in charge now. Do they have the power, backed by the people, to kick France out?
I mean, is it enshrined within the constitution?
No, do they? According, they're in charge. They kick the court already ruled they want them out. Do you think that France at this point they're criminals?
And that's the problem. The court has already ruled. You see, when you have a military,
they want them out, Zongo. The court said leave ASAP. They are ignoring court order.
Okay, so when you have a military system in place, the judiciary, the legislative organ is all broken into pieces.
No. Zongo. The court, Zongo.
I mean, no judge.
Wait.
Decision.
So wait, Zongo. So you are telling me, for example, if I make, let's say you don't, in your mind, if you don't take me serious, the decision I make on my shows here, if you don't like it, because I don't take him serious. So are you saying you should just ignore my the decisions I'm making, and I should just let you continue to have the freedom within the show? Is that what you're saying?
See, the point I'm trying to say to you guys right now is the military are now in control of the country, and all the institutions and the system within the country might be sabotaged because of like the
might. You use the word might.
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to fear them. I mean,
the people protesting, they are out because of fear.
It's propaganda.
Okay. All right. We'll go to Kana. I'll come back to you. Kana.
It's propaganda.
No problem. Okay. We'll accept it. Hold on.
Let me say, Bazoom's case has not been brought to the court of law for decision to be made, and I rest my case from there.
Okay. Let's bring Kana in.
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
Let's bring Kana. Kana, are you there? Kana, you're mute. I don't know what happened to Kana. Let's bring Tango Bravo. Unmute yourself, Tango Bravo.
Yeah, hi guys. Hi everyone.
Hi, Tango Bravo. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm not in the country, but I'm coming from Gabon. I was
Gabon.
there.
Oh, did you call before? Oh yeah. You know what, Tango Bravo, give us your take on, because I said, the coup there, I see it as a hoax. Can you, highlight that, and also what you think about the conversation taking place on Niger, like what Zongo is saying? Go ahead.
Yes. Regarding the coup in Gabon, do you want me to give my opinion on that?
Yes.
Yes. Regarding the coup, actually, we can consider it as a change in the system, because the guy that took the power.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nephew of the former
Bongo.
Yes. And then what you said was totally true. France, when he sworn in, the French diplomat, the French ambassador was there, as well as all the European diplomatic corps. They were there, and it's a paradox, because they do in Gabon what they reproach in Niger.
Yeah, because in Gabon, the leader is not even talking about, the French military that are based there, some of the troops. to kick them out. And
Yeah.
he's not pretty much the signal he's sending to the French is to let them know, hey, France, don't worry, we are safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you think about Niger? Because France is trying hard to try to start a war in Niger. Like, does France really think they're gonna win this war? All of Africa is watching. Outside of Africa, people are watching all over the world. Do you think if France instigates a war in Niger, do you think they can win this one?
They can win. I mean, they can win because they have the power to win. But likewise in Vietnam, even if
they lost in Vietnam, they have the equipment. They still lost.
Yes, this is what's going to take place in Niger, because as you said, they requested the French ambassador to leave because he doesn't want to recognize the new authority because he came here without election, like a coup d'etat. But in Gabon, they give their blessing. You see, French diplomacy is very dissonant.
They are hypocrites.
It's a hypocrisy and dissonance, the total dissonance.
So Gabon are the people, because I saw that they let Bongo, they let him free, but someone is saying they were gonna charge him with treason. Is that charge gonna stick, or they just gonna let Bongo just go live his nice life?
They're just going to let him live his best life, because Bongo is the cousin of Oligi, is the cousin of the new guy. So he will not kill his brother,
cousin. Yeah.
And also because the interests of France are not on threats. So that's why France doesn't do anything, or is not worried about anything, because the guy in charge is with French occupation and stuff. And for your information, in the presidential guards, there are French officers there. And in Gabon, the head of the call listening department is a French guy who was a former French Navy.
So they want the French. They want Ali Bongo out, right?
Yes. They wanted him out.
In fact, did you guys know that Ali Bongo was a musician? He used to be a musician. Here, let me play his song for you. A quick one here.
I used to mess around playing girls, found myself alone and not to call my own. Then used
make some noise.
Make some noise. The James Bond of Gabon, right?
Guys, that's Ali Bongo back in 1978, and then the same Ali Bongo, made a new song. He made another new song in 2023. Let me show you his new song. Give me a moment here. Hold on, give me a second.
Oh, you mean the make noise song?
Hold on. Yeah, so in 2023 he made a new song called Make Noise. But go ahead, Tango Bravo. So Tango Bravo, what do you see? Like, okay, now since the people in Gabon, they're seeing, okay, this is not really much of a change like Niger. Were the people expecting like a Niger type situation in Gabon where you guys gonna get rid of? You love the French there.
Actually, the population is against French over control in our economy and stuff. But the problem is that we have not the chance to have political leaders who can back this up, because in our political leaders, even from the opposing side, none of them ever raised the concern of CFA Franc, neocolonialism, and all those stuff. So that's why it's going to be hard. That's why it's going to be hard. And also the people in charge, the guy in charge is also alongside French neocolonialism and stuff. So
he's got lots of money.
yes, he purchased some. He purchased.
I saw he bought 2 homes in America here in Maryland. He bought all of them cash.
Yeah.
Hey, Afridamas, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Connor.
Yeah, my fault, man. I saw I got kicked out the panel.
Oh yeah, we were trying to get you to talk, but
yeah, Kana can talk.
Allow Tango Bravo to finish, then you can come in, Connor. So,
yeah, it's okay. I'm done.
So Tango Bravo, let me ask you. Someone is asking. The Kira wants to know. He said, what about Bongo's son? Like, are they going to charge him? Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, Bongo's son is in jail because they found money. Yeah, they found money in his house. But the problem is that even if they put him in prison, they won't have. When they're going to do a trial, it's going to be hard for them to prove his guilt because he at the time they found money in his house, he didn't have any official position. He didn't have any proof.
But wouldn't they ask where he got the money from?
Yes, if they ask, he's going to answer that. The public officer gave him the money because actually, when he goes there to get the money, he just say, "I'm the son's president." And
but that's a crime.
Yes, that's the crime. But on the paper, he didn't sign anything.
Oh.
There isn't evidence to prosecute.
Yes, yes.
Huh. Wow.
Yes, he didn't sign anything. Actually, what happened is that he goes to the place where the money is, and he says with his mouth, "Okay, give me that money." And the guy there is signing the paper. And while they're signing the paper, let's say he's asking for $1,000. When the $1,000 get out, the guy who signed the paper get his parts, and he give the money. This is the way they proceed.
So Brave. If you can't provide the source of the fund, that's corruption. That's
yes,
fraud.
but you know,
they won't be able to provide the source of the funds.
Yeah, but Tango Bravo. Hold on,
No.
Tango Bravo. What now that the people know about it, right?
Yeah.
So don't you think the people will be demanding that something be done about that? Like, what are the people think? What do they think about what they are seeing?
People are welcoming the fact that the Bongo son is in jail. But for me, it's just this is nothing, because you have to know that the Bongo family has some shares in the national oil businesses.
But they acquired that illegally. Shouldn't the military cut that off? And also another thing, I found another video which I'm going to highlight. I'm going to do a show on the Bongo family. They said there's a rumor that Bongo, his white wife, in fact, is in the middle. Like they believe that she conspired, and also Bongo's sister, for them to remove Bongo, the coup. They said they are behind it.
No. The wife wasn't.
She's not part of it.
No, she was not part of it, because she didn't like the new guy Oligi, and wanted him to be kicked out of the presidential guard. They were kind of enemy. They were kind of enemy.
Can I say something? It'd be pretty, and this is me from the outside looking in, it'd be pretty, like, especially dealing with the family's assets. All they have to do is very simple. This has been done in every country on the planet. They get sued by the government, or they bring charges, say they stole this, and that, whatever the shares, and then constitutional court send it to the highest court in the land, and they'll say, yeah, it was stolen, and that's it. And it goes back to the people.
Yeah, they can take it back, because the guy's getting charged with treason.
But they won't do at the state of affair now. they are not doing that, and they won't charge Bongo Ali for anything because he was set free. So this is kind of strange. They put his son in prison because he took the money, and but the money that he took was taken with the blessing of his father. So this is a nonsense, you know.
Well, like Tango, you have to understand. The junta they're in a very precarious place. They can't outright take him and execute him or do certain things, maybe jail time once they have maybe a big show trial, but also too, it may just benefit them just to take all his power and let him just be a regular citizen. But they have to be very careful about how they treat him. That's why they've been doing what they've been doing. They haven't touched a hair on his head.
Don't worry about that, because you know, when Ali Bongo was calling from help from his international brothers, nobody showed up, so he could have been killed. They wouldn't have cared. And you have to.
That's not true. The people would have cared at the international community level.
Tango, why did Ali Bongo, you know, when he was asking for help, he didn't speak French, he went to English.
Yes.
Why didn't,
Yes, he went to, he did his calling in English for two reasons. Why? He realized and he was aware that no Gabonese people will want to
support
do
him.
Mobilization to support him.
Do you think he was calling for, you know, Black Americans to come and help him?
No. He was calling for, you know, for England, because he entered the Commonwealth.
Yes, I forgot all about that. You're right.
And he was calling for the help of people like you know, the Kagames, you know, those kind of people. I mean, the English Africans in the Commonwealth, and
like
because you know,
Ghana and others.
Yeah,
Nigeria.
Ghana, and also Ali made some economic ties with Singapore, India, Turkey. So he wanted to call for help from those people, because he know that French didn't want him anymore.
Hey, Afrodamus, like I remember, like you remember a few years ago in Turkey when there was I guess Western-inspired coup over there. I'm pretty sure you're familiar. And when Erdogan, and they did it when Erdogan was out of the country. Okay, cool, Zango, hold on. And it was pretty cool because Erdogan was out of the country at the time. He was very vulnerable. And then once they started taking...
He wasn't out, he was in the country.
No, he was outside of the country. He was outside of the country.
So you think it was fake? I think he was out.
No, he was.
Yeah, he was out.
He was in the rural part of the country.
Okay, well, here, let me finish. Zango, please stop talking over me. And so I remember when his darkest hour, what did he do? He went on social media, he went online, and he went in his native language, and he told the people of Turkey to come out into the streets and make your voices heard.
Yeah, make noise.
He didn't
make some noise.
Make some noise. He didn't say my friends in America or my allies or whatever. He went right to his people and appealed to them, and you saw the result. So
but the Gabonese were done with him, though. So,
yeah, exactly.
So they're not gonna help him.
Yes, and
I wanted to highlight something about what he just said, because at that time, when Erdogan was overthrown, it was the same situation. A section of the military, the elites, wanted to overthrow a democratically elected president.
Yeah, but Zongo, did you see Gabon? Gabon was happy though. Gabon, the people, they want Bongo gone.
I'm talking about Niger. I'm referencing that to Niger. What currently happened?
No, there was not the elites.
Yeah, Afridamus,
they were protecting Bazoom. They were not the elites.
Oh, hold on, guys, hold on. Tango.
I wanted to highlight another element. Ali Bongo, in spite of the fact that he entered the Commonwealth, in spite of the fact that he legalized the new gender, you know, kind of.
He legalized.
Yes.
Really?
It was penalized.
LGBTQ.
Yes, it was penalized, and this was the condition before entering the Commonwealth. So he legalized that, and third of all, he got a French wife. And fourth of all, he was the Masonic. He was the Masonic order grandmaster.
Bingo.
But in spite of all those things, French and all those international people didn't care about him. So whatever you do for them, if they don't want him, all those things won't help you in any sort.
So he sold out. He sold out for nothing.
And also, he's Muslim. He's Muslim, so he had ties with the Arabic people. But none of those Arabic masters, none of those French white masters, none of those Masonic masters didn't care about his face.
Wow. All right, guys, let's bring in Kana. Oh, go ahead, St. James, real quick.
Can I just ask him a question before we get to Kana? Yes, this was a question. Tango, your previous president back in the day was called Leonba, right? Leonba?
Yeah, Leonba.
What? I watched a video when Leonba was talking next to a French, I don't know if there was a French president, and he was talking to the Gabonese. He said, you guys have two nations. You remember that video?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what's the sentiment of the Gabonese? Do you guys think that you guys are Gabonese and French, or like?
I mean, we have cultural ties, we have family ties, and so.
You guys eat croissant?
I mean, don't confuse the personal ties and the political ties.
Right.
Don't confuse that. It's not because we have.
Let's talk culturally. Like, do you guys feel like you guys are French?
No, we don't feel cultural as French. We have cultural ties, but we know who we are. It's like me. I speak English, but I will never say that I'm a Black American because I do breakdancing and stuff. I know who I am. It's the same thing.
Can you explain to us what the president was referring to, talking to you guys like you guys?
Yeah, the problem. I have to be honest. This former president was a sellout. He was a sellout because he was, when French decided to give us our so-called independence, he was against because he wanted Gabon to stay in France. So this is one. And second of all, he was designed president of Gabon with the blessing of French because our independence wasn't got through a fight. It was given like when a master wants to give a bone to the dog. This is how we got our independence. It's different from
even
Omar Bongo was handpicked and put there.
Yes, by the French. Yes. Actually, we never had a president in Gabon elected by the people.
Yeah, it's France running the country.
Yes, and then after Bongo's father died, France gave the presidency to his son through corrupted election, and he was cheating the election so far. And then we had a coup recently. So basically, we Gabonese people never elected our head of state. Never.
What? I mean, didn't you have free democracy in the country?
I mean, do you call it democracy when you go to election? I mean,
man, you always know. So in other words, these countries we have globally is just a battle between elite groups within the countries. The people are just followers.
There's no democracy.
So I don't see why even in Niger we have to take the voice of the people seriously because.
Jeez. Zongo said, don't take the people's voice serious.
No. You have to take the people's voice. I mean, the people are in the street to demand the.
So I'm saying the point I'm saying is that the elite can just cook a story and bring it to the people for them to believe in.
Who's the elite, though? Who's the elite? You keep referring to the elite. Who's the elite?
A small section of the people, of the population.
The elite are the sellouts.
Yeah, they are kicking out the elite, Zongo.
I mean, so even elite, you don't think some of the military could be part of the elites too?
No, Zongo, do you think Ibrahim Traore is part of the elite? Are you kidding me?
Nobody's speaking out.
Do you think the president in Mali, what's his name again? His name is just escaping me. You think these guys are the elite? These people were in the the desert fighting. Do you understand this?
We are speaking about Burkina.
No, I'm
Niger.
saying even Niger, these people are
Same
they were
thing.
in the desert fighting.
Same
You mean
thing.
the leadership now? They were in the desert fighting. Is that what you're saying? The
Well,
commanders.
somebody has to back them.
Giving order, fighting, whatever they could do to defend their country, they were doing just that. So why are you calling them the elites?
The
So,
hierarchy at the top of the
Alfredamus, let me ask you a
institution.
question,
They
right?
don't
Would
go
you
on the
rather,
field to go
like,
and fight. That's the point I'm saying.
Zongo, let's say someone was with working in the system, right? He was working the system, and the next day he comes back to you and say, okay, you know what? I used to work in the system, but now I'm back. I'm past that. I want to help my country. I will side with someone like that rather than siding with
But
somebody who
Zongo,
still
again,
doesn't understand.
Zongo, show me if you have any videos, right? Don't give me this thing to say, oh, the people are afraid to oppose the military. That's not true. I've witnessed military coups. You know, Africans were never, if they are against the military coup, they make noise. Like Ali Bongo was saying. Why do you think Ali Bongo say make noise? Do you know how many coups Ali Bongo is witnessed in his lifetime in Africa? In Africa, hold on. If the people are against the coup, right? If they're against it, they make noise. But this coup is the people's coup. They don't want Bazoom.
Okay.
How hard is this? They don't want him.
Let me tell you what Rollins did before Kana comes.
Yeah. If after you, let's have Connor give his 2 cents too.
Briefly, because a lot of you guys speak highly of a lot of like military leaders, right? Rollins, you say you are a huge proponent of capitalism, right? During Rollins' regime, those who were selling goods when demands of goods were very high, they sell it at higher prices. Guess what was happened to them? During like Independence Day, he calls those sellers who are selling goods at high prices and lashed them. He can't.
No, because some people in these African countries, let's be honest, these people these people make the economy, they become a roadblock. How are you gonna jack up your profit by 125%? Someone has to call you out. Let's just be real.
It's not a capitalist society. Then it's a socialist society.
No, but
on,
it's not. No. What he was doing is this is even in Gambia, even in Ajame when he came, he did the same thing. People were in the market, making things difficult. They are charging, they think they can charge any amount, destroying the market. Someone has to control the market.
Yeah, but
someone has to set a price. So Rawlings, that's what he did.
In an ideal market economy, I mean, there's not supposed to be a government controlling the prices.
No, no, government is in charge of these things, because if not, hold on, if not, first of all, we look at these economies. Why these economies are just inconsistent is because you have people jacking up prices any kind of way they want. So when Rawlings was in Ghana, let's look at the economic improvements of Ghana. Let's just be honest, Zongo.
But I'm just saying in reference to your ideology.
But what I'm saying, did he improve the economy?
What, Rawlings?
Yes.
I mean, I think Rawlings.
Come on, no, hold on. Are you kidding me? Are you gonna try to sit here and try to downplay the work he did?
Rawlings went. There are videos of him.
Really, Zongo, who transitioned Ghana to what Ghana improved to? Who did that?
There are videos of Rawlings on YouTube right now, speaking to BBC journalists, saying that it's the foreign powers who are corrupting his people. I mean, come on.
Which is true.
You can't make this up. I mean,
are you saying it's a lie?
He came to power and he's still complaining. I mean, come on. I don't know.
Oh, jeez, Zongo, you're anti-African. But let's bring in Kana.
No, come on, stop it.
Let's bring in Kana. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kana, what do you want to add on to this? Do you think Bazoom is a treasonous person from Niger, because he is against the people? Do you think France have any right to stay in a country that they have been, kicked out of? You're muted, Kana. Go ahead, Kana.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so, first of all, I just want to say, thanks for having me on. I'm a Senegalese. I know you're Gambian. Sama mbokk naka mu yaa si jàmm.
Nah, yes, Mangsi
I've been
Jam.
watching yaa si jàmm bu baax.
Bubahaba.
Yeah, I've been watching you for a minute now, a long time. And I know this is a Niger focused, conversation.
Hey, but
But
you guys are deep in the French sauce, so we want to hear what you gotta say.
yeah, I was going to talk about Senegal.
Yes, by all
I
means, we want to
understand
hear it.
Yeah, I understand that there's a strong anti-French sentiment going on in West Africa right now, but I truly don't believe in it. I'll start believing in this anti-French sentiment once Senegal, changes its official language from French to Wolof.
Yeah,
I
but
know
Senegal, the people, there's a division there too, right? There are some who are into the French culture, they think they are French, and you have the other section who are into the Murid, the religious section, right? So the leadership is entirely France. And France, Senegal, their West African base is in Senegal. So it means the brainwashing is deep over there. So what do you make? It's extremely deep in Senegal. I've been there. Even the last time I visited, I went there. I hate to tell you, man, but even though they are next door, a lot of them they truly think they're French.
exactly. It's sad because I'm here in Senegal. I've been here for the past 4 months. And like you said, the brainwashing is truly deep here. People literally they compliment each other by saying, "Oh, you're not tubabe," which means you look like
You're
a tubab.
white. Yeah. Anything good is white. Everything bad is black.
Exactly. So I understand that this was about Niger, but I just wanted to say that real quick about Senegal. And also, I wanted to say this too. Afridamus, you had a show one day where you were speaking on the Arabization and the Islamization in West Africa. I think that's extremely imperative. I really think that you should open up another show like that. Because Islam and Arabization has also destroyed Africa and African people.
Well, because the Muslims, the ones that say they are Muslim, they are the terrorists. They are the ones the French are using to destroy the place. So yeah.
Are you a Tukulor? Are you a Tukulor?
You didn't show up on that show, Kana. You should have.
And Kana, they want to know your avatar. American royalty. He wants you to. He's trying to say, oh, Afridamus. That the picture is Afridamus. That's what he wants you to say. But
this is a Ethiopian Omadic woman. She's from Ethiopia.
And also, Kana, by the way, you know what's interesting? They took that show down. YouTube took me down because I was reported. Some of these people could not. They couldn't. No, they took it down because they said people reported me. I don't know. I didn't even say anything wrong, but they reported me. So yeah.
I mean, that issue. I mean, if you stay back in Africa, I mean that ideology, it's gonna be hard for you to escape that unless you travel.
To escape what?
I mean that indoctrination of religious indoctrination on this Negroes in West Africa or Africa in general, right? I mean, particularly in the case of Islam, right? You have to travel outside to meet people. I had to do that because I was indoctrinated. I had to move outside my comfort zone and view things from a different level, see people from different angles. I'm like, what? So these people are really fighting for their interests, and I'm here, fighting for them over my country, because I've been told to believe he was the last messenger, right? So a lot of people back home is.
Well, guys, let's before let's do our closing statements. Let's do our closing statements.
So let me say, I would say Afridamas is not easy as you make it seem, right? Because in the case
As
of
I make what, like, what do you mean?
I mean, the whole this conversation that is just a scam or whatever you call it, the term you call it. In the case of
The
um,
French?
the
You don't
aid,
think the French are, you don't think it's a scam?
the Western aid that has been provided. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was in Ghana, I did work under the education ministry.
Oh,
When
so you were receiving, European welfare. Okay.
when I was 7, hold on, guys. When I was 7, my they call it like how do you call it? National service. It's like a service you have to offer the country. You know, and some of this aid within education ministry, they were using that to kind of monitor the high school, like pre-tertiary institutions. They have inspectors. They go to the schools to make sure these teachers are teaching the kids. This aid
Yeah,
money.
you mean the slave masters. Okay.
So this aid was really helpful in this aspect, right? Because some of these Negroes teachers, when you send them to the remote areas, they don't come to teach Afridamas. They don't come to teach.
Okay. Well,
So it was they were using it to finance the work of these inspectors and other institutions across the various uh department industries within the country, right? So we shouldn't just dispel it.
all right.
I mean, as far as
Thank
the
you.
money,
Thank
hold
you,
on, let me make
Zongo.
my final.
Somebody they requested the Kamala laugh on you.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby.
Nah,
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do? Look out, boys, it's coming through. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Boy,
All right. Sorry, Zongo. It was a request, but go ahead.
Oh, I thought you would kind of suppress my opinion after that was
No,
all of
no,
a
no, no,
sudden.
no, no. Continue.
Oh, okay. Really? I was like, after that was all of a
No,
sudden.
no, no. It's just a request, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I mean, in respect, as far as the profit these corporations are making, it's business, Afridamas. I mean, if you feel they are exploiting you guys, go and build the same business on your own property and make the same money. And on the contrary, when I watch the news, I see African government going to these countries, inviting them to come to establish their businesses in their countries, and in later down the years, after them investing huge sums of money, you're gonna say they cheated you guys. Come on, man, you guys have to
That's
have a
why
stand.
Ghana is in the hole.
Oh, well, thank you, Zongo.
You gotta have a stand, please,
Oh,
guys.
That's
Come
why
on.
Ghana is in the hole, though.
no problem. Thank you, Zongo. That was Zongo, guys. St. James, closing statement.
Hey, that's why Ghana is in the hole. They invited the black diaspora and it didn't help out.
So, St. James, are you worried hearing your neighbor is pro-French and pro-Western?
No, I'm not too worried about Ghana. If they want the French, they can have the French.
Oh, the
We can
Kio said,
open
I
border.
guess no Senegal for me. It was my bucket list just for the food there. Might have to settle for Gambia then. Exactly, the Kio. Settle for Gambia. You can visit there sometimes and eat their food. That's right. You can just drive in. But as far as staying there, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I was going to ask him a few questions about Senegal, but he left. He left the
Yeah.
park.
Right.
Yeah, Senegal is another one. But thanks for having me. But the French, they're not gonna invade Niger. I just want to let everybody know that that would never happen because we now have the alliances of the Sahelian states. So basically, I don't think they will do. But ECOWAS is too weak.
Yeah.
ECOWAS is too weak. Tinubu can't even run Nigeria, let alone run ECOWAS.
Yeah.
It's too weak. It's like I'm gonna borrow some words from Donald Trump, man. Low energy.
Oh, he's got low energy.
Low energy. I mean, it's like, dude, come on, man.
You
said,
went Trump on him.
I trust me. It's too low energy, man. Look at we're Sahelian, man. It's too hot in here, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
do
that's
better
what
than that.
Kidola said. Hey,
Right.
as hot. He said you guys are as hot as the Sahel itself.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy's low energy. Come on, man. Do you guys see him talk, man? Do you think he can do anything? Like, come on. So I was hoping that after Damas, if
Yeah.
we want ECOWAS to move forward, right? I believe the chairman of ECOWAS right now has to come from Burkina, Mali, or Niger. Right now, if you want ECOWAS,
The way it's looking, man, I'll even, because you know they have the spokesperson is Gambian and all. I'm ready to get him kicked out too, man, because I'm not recognizing what is happening.
absolutely. You know who got him? Who got him to do that? That's the Ivorian dude.
Oh,
Ouattara.
Yeah.
When you get close to Ouattara, yeah, you get to speak like that.
Yeah.
The guy is a poison, man. We know the guy, you know. So he's been, I mean, lately he's been getting closer to Anglophone countries, you know.
Yeah, well, Ouattara is like, you know, he himself, he doesn't feel safe because he's like, man, he's like, hey, man, I feel isolated over here. You know, it's only me and Ghana is English.
Yeah, there was a video. I don't know. Maybe I'll send you the video. You remember when he said he
I
was
saw
gonna
the
send a
video you
battalion?
sent me.
No,
Which
there's
one?
another one that where the president of Ivory Coast was saying that he's going to send a battalion,
Oh, yes, I saw
unit.
that.
And the former president of that country was laughing at him. I'm like, no, it's not even enough. And you acting like it's a lot. I was like, damn, this guy doesn't even know that's not even, you can't even take over a village.
Well,
with
St.
that.
James, hopefully Nigeria would turn around and finally join the group.
After that was my biggest surprise was, remember, I don't know if there was back in 2019 or 2020, we had a conversation with a bunch of Nigerians. Even that guy Mike was there, and they were talking about our francophone country were letting ECOWAS down. Even when we discussed the creation of our own currency, these francophone countries were not doing that.
Well, I remember, you know what they didn't disclose that Obasanjo turned the Nigerian army into the Rainbow Coalition. They didn't disclose that.
That never happened. So every time, right, back then, like from 2019 to 2020, let's say 2021, everybody was talking about Francophone Africa. These guys are cowards. These guys don't know what they
You're
want.
right. Yeah, it's true. I remember
this was
that.
happening, you know,
Yeah.
and I was there telling them, listen, you got some Francophone like countries in Africa. We mean business. We can deal with. Nobody believed me. I was like, okay. When that happened, now everybody's looking at me funny. I'm like, yeah, I told you. But now I thought Nigeria would say, oh, listen, we got some live ones, right? We got live ones in West Africa. We got Burkina, we got Mali, we got Niger. We can work with those people. But look at what happened. Then they act like they don't even see it.
Yeah, I know. It's easy. It's Zongo said, this is why I had lost faith in Africa. America is my new home. Thank you, Zongo.
I hope he stays in America because they're in the hole, man. This is a big hole, man. That is in the big hole, man. I don't even know how they're going to come out of it. Maybe they need another Euro return too. They need that.
Yeah. Well, the blacks are over there gentrifying the country. But thank you very much, St. James.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. Like I said, you know, people can have different opinions. But again, this aid thing that the Europeans, France, and the EU, they are using, trying to dangle it in front of the Africans, you know, like that, you know, what they put in, quote unquote, aid, that's pennies compared to what they, you know, receive. And I want to thank all of you for watching. This brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, Zongo, St. James, Kana, you know, Tango Bravo, American First Rifleman, and, you know, everyone that called in, the viewers, and the super chatters. Thank you for supporting the show. Don't forget to hit the like. I would make sure come back again, not today, but in another show tomorrow. You know, we would explore further to break down what is happening in Africa, because you know there are some people, quote unquote, Pan-Africans. You know, some of the blacks now they are invading, you know, Kenya. So we will talk about that again, and you know, if there's any updates, we will bring that up too, and we will talk about, you know, Gabon. Is Gabon really a free country? Do the French own Gabon? I'll let you guys decide. when I bring that up. So yeah, make sure you show up for that as well. And at the end of the day, let's allow these countries to do the right thing. France have no room, they have no say in deciding what should happen in these countries. Let's just be real. Unless they want to tell us that they own the country. Now, if they say they own the country, then we can discuss that. But I get it. Some of you are not going to like what is being discussed here, but it's facts. The French and the European Union are 419ers. There is no hiding this. Yes, and I saw someone wrote in the chat saying, Afridamus, are you blaming the Europeans? No, I'm not blaming the Europeans. There's a difference between their citizens and the government, but even the European citizens in this day and age, in the internet, they should search the information. But since we know most of them, their sentiment is you can just go and annihilate those Africans. So Africans, we have to take the responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen. That's just how it is. You cannot outsource your protection onto other people. Now, Macron is acting like they are the big daddies of Africans, saying these Africans are useless. They won't be able to, take care of their resources. Why do you think I'm asking Zongo if he's working for France? Because he's repeating the same kind of things that Macron is saying. So, shout out to Zongo. If you're working for Macron, by all means, make sure he watches this video, so he knows where we stand, because if they, the days of invading African countries and feeling safe in Europe is over, because we got the information. We know it's all based in lies. So it is time for France to understand, the days of getting free welfare from these nations is over. They need to start buying the goods they need. All these playing daddy, trying to be a pimp, good. You've had, good enough run. I mean, isn't 200 years enough? 300 years? How long do you want this to keep going? So I hope, the French, the Europeans especially, would, take this in. Sure, if you want to come for tourism, that's okay. But we're not going to allow you to exploit our people without people talking about it. So I'm out. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you? Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you? Big flex, my swole up, double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hold up, what's the problem?